All right, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? Dogon SS JV wins. We are here once again, back for another video on the Conscious Approach channel on YouTube. Thanks to everybody out there for joining us, for hitting the subscribe button, hitting the like button, leaving those comments on these videos, letting us know how much you support this logical content, whether you agree or disagree with the commentary. Content engagement is an indication of support of the content nonetheless. So we don't try to run a cult here. We actually encourage the disagreement so long as it's constructive. So long as it's constructive. Otherwise, man, thanks to everybody out there for tuning in, for jumping along with us on this train. CA, we are back with another fantastic video. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you have not already done so. Hit that like button and leave a comment. Let us know what you think about the commentary in this or any other video as we keep this train rocking and rolling. Now, have several fantastic topics to talk about tonight. We're going to go ahead and get things kicked off talking about Dame Dash, who is somewhat getting, criticized on the internet for comments that he made with respect to how he's going about parenting his young son. So, Dame Dash, I think what he is known for at this point, more than anything else, is his ongoing feud with Jay-Z and Rockefeller, trying to reclaim some of the rights to some of the catalogs and whatnot. And it's an ongoing thing. It's a back and forth between the two. He say, she say. One side says one thing and his side says the other. But every now and again, he'll also go semi-viral for comments that he makes on the internet with respect to a litany of topics, this one notwithstanding. So certain people were rubbed the wrong way by what Dame Dash had to say here when it comes to how he is choosing to raise his kid, or just his take on parenting in general. Basically, what he said was he wants to be the primary male influence, or just the primary influence on his son's life, because his son is a boy, a male, and he just wants to be a guiding influence, and he doesn't want his mother to be more of an influence in his child's life over him, because he wants to instill, masculine values, how to be a man, how to be masculine, so on and so forth. And he doesn't want his son hanging out more with his mother, to where his mother is going to have him doing quote unquote feminine things and all of that kind of stuff. So as the internet goes nowadays, this rubbed people the wrong way. So that's what we are going to go ahead and talk about here real quick. So this says Dame Dash under fire for his hot take about parenting. Dame Dash is taking care of a lot of family matters these days. For example, he recently revealed why he waited longer than others would have to evacuate Florida with his family due to the passage of Hurricane Milton. Now, the Rockefeller executive divided fans with his hot take about parenting. Basically, he doesn't want his son to be more influenced by his mother's feminine sensibilities, although his overall isn't as hot button as this specific statement. How can I let him hang out with somebody but his dad? Don't let another man be his influence, or even let, his mother be the one that is his strongest influence and have him doing feminine stuff. You know what I mean? We a man right here, right? Give me 5. We know how to take, don't leave me hanging. So he's actually talking to his kid at that point. We know our job, you know what I mean? I have to lead by example in front of him. So here is what he actually had to say, so that you're not hearing it from my mouth. You can actually hear it from his. Where you at, Dame? There we go.
How can I let him hang out with somebody but his dad? Or let another male be his influence? Or even let, his mother be the one that is his strongest influence and have him doing feminine stuff? You know what I mean? So we a man right here, right? Give me 5. We know how to take it. Don't leave me hanging. Give me 5. All right. We know our job. You know what I mean? And, I have to lead by example in front of him. It's important because I'm his source of like inspiration, or at least, you know, his definition of what a man is what he sees. So I gotta make sure he sees the right stuff and that he gets the right swag. But he already, this is, I don't tell him to wear a bucket. He makes me wear a bucket hat, right? And you like your Hot Wheels and all that, your cars, like country club life. He picked all that, not us. He swims, he does all that. So I'm having a ball. I'm not gonna hold you. And I want to lead by example. I want to show y'all that,
All right, there you go. So this just goes on to basically paraphrase what he was saying in that clip. Um, Reaction to what he had to say is mixed to say the least. But some people didn't appreciate what he had to say, which should come as no shock. I'll let you go ahead and get started, and I'll try to find some of the comments with respect to what he had to say there. But suffice to say, there aren't too many people who are happy with the fact that he basically said that he doesn't want to have his son uh, have his mother be the primary influence in his son's life because he doesn't want his son out there doing all of that stuff. And I guess there was an element of the internet that took that in an offensive way. But what do you have to say about what Dame Dash had to say there about his son being around him more than not?
But first of all, yeah, as I soliloquy, as Stephen A. Smith would say, I would love for you to find some of these comments if you could, because I'm finding a hard time believing people have a hard time with this, and what would their criticism actually be? Outside of some social justice. Rigmarole, some new age way of thinking, that woke stuff, and I can't believe it. Now this is Dame Dash, and if anybody knows Dame Dash, if you've seen him on the internet give these interviews, talk about his life, talk about his past, talk about how he views entrepreneurship, talk about how he views business. This should come as no shock. Now, for the people out there that do want to get offended by this, this is not excluding the mother from child rearing. This is him saying that he wants to be more of an influence. I think I think he got in trouble at with the Hot Wheels and the stereotypical man things. I think that's probably where he got in trouble at, because nowadays, man, how things are going, you can't be man no more. You can't like sports, cars, women. You're not allowed to like anything. You know what I'm saying? So for him to say, hey man, hey, here's your Hot Wheels, bro, here's your bucket hat. You know what I'm saying? I want to be an influence on my son. And for people to be outraged about that, honestly, it's just the signs of the social engineered times, because this is not how things were viewed traditionally. This is not how things were about 10 years ago. But now that the West is so progressive, you can't want your son to do things that are deemed masculine in nature. So it's actually quite sad. But for him to be saying these things again, to reiterate, this does not mean that the mother is excluded from being an influence in the child's life, because there's nothing like mama's cooking. There's nothing like a hug from mom. There's nothing like those things that you do get from your mother. But at the same time, there's nothing like learning how to walk, talk, handle business like your father. And for him to be in his child's life and wanting to be an influence in it, especially in today's day and age where households aren't together, people should be commending this more than criticizing it. But hey, man, this is the way of the times, unfortunately. But what are your thoughts, sir? Did you get an opportunity to grasp some of these things?
No, I'm still looking, but I'll go ahead and go, and I'm sure I'll be able to find it. Neighborhood Talk, man, they post all day, every day. They got so many posts on here.
Yeah, I'll try
But
to find one.
yeah, I think the issue with the fact that people have a problem with it for me is just
Mhm.
the imbalance in the form of the discourse.
Mhm.
So, and I rail about this kind of stuff all the time because it isn't as though in and of itself disagreeing with the comments is problematic, because it's not. It's that if he would have done the exact opposite, no one would be saying a word. So I
Right.
guess so if he were to say in that post, for example, um, I would rather my son spend all of his time with his mother because I want him to be instilled with the most feminine sensibilities as possible. He would be heralded as a hero and a progressive, change agent as a result of those kinds of comments. And my thing is, why does one have to be declared right over the other? I don't understand why we're doing this where there's this delineation between right and wrong when it comes to this kind of conversation. And clearly it has been decided by the masses, seemingly, that suggesting that um, you wanting your son or your child or your male child rather to be more feminine is a good thing, versus saying wanting your male child to be more masculine is an actual bad thing,
Mhm.
when I don't think either one of them are good or bad. It's just a difference of opinion, specifically when it comes to family values and how one chooses to rear their children. That's the thing with me that kind of bugs me when it comes to this kind of thing, is if he had done the opposite, not only would he not be getting criticized for it, he'd actually be getting celebrated. I draw the analogy of, like, if somebody goes on to the news, right? Like, let's say Dame Dash goes on CNN to talk about parenting,
Mhm.
and the news anchor ask him, well, how would you like to raise your son? How would you like to raise your son? Like, how do you ideally see yourself raising your young son? And if he were to go on national television and say, I want to raise my son the same way that his mother would like to raise him, and when all possible, I'd like for him to spend as much time with his mother as possible, because I want him to glean what it's like to tap into his feminine side. I think that that's important. Like, if he were to say that, he'd be getting heralded as a hero for those kinds of comments. Rather, the inverse, though, if he says, I want to spend as much time with my son because I want to instill as many masculine sensibilities in him as possible, well, now those are problematic comments. And we need to dissect that and try to understand why someone would dare say that they want their child to be as masculine as possible.
Hmm.
Because there's this undercurrent of, unfortunately, there's this undercurrent of, to be and embrace masculinity is to inherently be problematic. I think
Yes.
that we have decided implicitly that that's the rule. So, it's not that we can debate back and forth the merit of masculinity versus femininity. It's literally that the rule of thumb is to embrace femininity is to be better. And to embrace masculinity is to not be better, is to be bad, to be wrong. And that's the issue. And I think that that kind of undercurrent in terms of the reception of those kinds of comments speaks to why somebody would have a problem with what he had to say. Because, like I said, if he had said the opposite and said he wants his son to be as feminine as possible, there'd be crickets. I mean, you might have a few of those red pill dudes out there who will who might jump out of the woodwork to say, "Hey, man, Dame Dash, you got to keep it real. You can't raise your son like that." But I think for the most part, people are going to be clapping and cheering, saying, "Look at Dame Dash be an example of the direction that we need to be as humanity," because that's the right side of history, is for men to embrace being more feminine. And I think that's the problem. I think that's the crux of the whole thing. I think that's the essence of why some people found his comments to be problematic, not because on the surface they are, but because we've just decided that the opposite of what he said is the right way to do things. Therefore, what he said is the wrong way to do things, which I think personally is complete insanity.
I mean, and yeah, like I said, man, this is going to be interpreted as women hating, women bashing, because he said that he wants to be an influence. more of an influence on his male son than his mama. And if you talk to the same women that are in that comment section tearing him apart, one of the things that they're going to tell us that they hate, one of the top 5 things that they hate about guys in a dating pool, or a guy that they would never date, is a mama's boy. One that was coddled a little too hard by mama, and mama is all up in their business, all up in their life, and he whines and cries like a baby, and he's not man enough. He doesn't do the things that she would like from a masculine figure, and probably it's because he spent too much time with his mama. Again, the mom has her point, her role in the house with the child rearing. Nowhere in any of his statement that he said that he doesn't want the mother to be completely not involved. He just said more. He wants to be more of an influence. 51-49, perhaps. All right. I'm pretty sure he's going to have a higher percentage, but be that as it may, he just wants to have more of an influence. And that's the oxymoronic thing about the people that cape for this anti-masculinity stuff. It's the same people that holler they want protection. Yeah, we need protection for men. Men aren't going to be, listen, man. The reason why men aren't protecting right now is because they're more feminine. Surprise. It's because they're being raised by more women. There's more women out here raising, single mamas out here. There's not as many men in the house. And so these guys are learning these feminine ways from somewhere. The kid's growing up with auntie and his mom. So he don't know how to, he's being socialized as a girl. Every time he's up moving around, he's seeing how his mama walk around the house, talk, you know what I'm saying? And he carries those mannerisms to school and other things. And, next thing you know, man, this guy's just walking around, as these women like to call, sassy. So what do we want? Do we want fathers to be involved in their sons' lives so they can grow up to be men? Or do you want them to have this new age way of thinking where that would be, a father having that level of influence would be toxic? So you can't have it both ways. You have to pick one or the other. And this extreme that people have been socialized into thinking, thinking that all masculinity is toxic. Like what, for the people out there that do holler toxic masculinity, what attributes would not be considered toxic that a man is allowed to have? But nobody talks about that side of the coin. Last thing I'll say, and I'll let you go again. There was this group that I was involved in college, and this was at the cutting edge of all this toxic masculinity stuff. And they sold a pretty good thing to me. I ain't gonna lie. Because the stuff that they was saying that, hey, grape culture and all this other stuff, I was like, yeah, grape culture's got to go. That's not cool. And just flat out women hatred, stuff like that. Nothing subtle, but flat out hatred. And I was like, yeah, man, I don't stand for that either. That is toxic. And one of the things that they did, they had like a board, and they said, go around the room. And they started asking everybody in there, that did have their fathers in their lives. And they started saying, what did your father do for you? Whatever. And a lot of the things on the list was like compassionate, caring, sacrifice, strong. Some people put cook, some people put clean, and then, so then after everybody gave their thing, they wrote it on the board. And then the guy started reading these things. And then he said, wouldn't these be attributes that would normally be contributed to a woman? And then everybody was like, oh, yeah, I guess, yeah. And it's like, men can be compassionate, men can be this, men can be that, and so that was their whole mind fudge of, it was a two-pronged thing. It was a mind fudge of just be soft, man. But the other part about it is that men got two sides to us. We can be those things, but we can also be the providers and the protectors and stuff like that. And so for a father like Dame Dash to sit here and say that, hey, I want to be the primary influence on my son, that doesn't mean that he's not going to be able to be compassionate. That doesn't mean that he won't be able to, be caring and sacrifice. I don't think Dame cooks at all, but you know what I'm getting at. Just because he's a man doesn't mean he wouldn't be able to instill, great qualities in his son either. So my whole thing is that men get a bad rap. Whenever we hear about toxic masculinity, we don't hear about the good things that men do actually do. And it's honestly got boiled down to the science of man bad. And if he's a man, he's a scumbag. And all things man need to go. And I'm totally against that. And if this rhetoric continues, okay, then we're going to see a society that everybody asks for except us. And I would and the crazy part about it is, when the world's like burning all the way around us because men aren't being men anymore, there's going to be a side of me that goes, damn, I'm sad to see it be like this. But then there's another part where I'm going to get a good laugh at everybody that's burning up with it because they asked for it. So yeah, man, this is all hogwash, bro. And the internet is going to internet, man, but not everybody thinks like this. And I know all women don't think like this, as far as the bashing part of Dame. But yeah, man, we gotta make masculinity great again. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, that's very good. I like that. We need a candidate who campaigns on that slogan. Make masculinity great again.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, I found it on Neighborhood Talk. So just to read a few of the comments here. Let's see. Damon, you acting like this your first child, bro. How old are you again? My man's 55 with a 4-year-old. Crazy work.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I know that lady regrets giving him her best years, baby. No, the problem is you too old to even keep up with your son. Here's another one. So I don't even know what his age has to do with any of this. Here's another one. Some of you men really hate women. Good grief. That's a bit strong. So yeah, I mean, this stuff here, I feel like he is extremely draining. Imagine living with someone who loves to talk like him. Who loves to talk like what? Saying he wants his son to hang out with him. So, and that's just a few of the comments. You can go to the Neighborhood Talk on Instagram and see the whole thread there for yourself if you want. But yeah, I hear everything that you're saying. And so in lieu of an individual saying that he wants to instill values within his son so that he proudly embraces his masculinity, people in the comments want to have these ancillary conversations, bringing in things like his age, as if it's relevant to the statement on the surface that he wants his son to embrace his masculinity. I don't understand why any of that stuff is relevant, but that's what happens when that kind of talking point gets brought up. When the notion of being proudly masculine gets brought up, then the tactics of blame, shame, and deflection also get brought up to kind of counteract what is perceived to be a danger in that a person being more masculine. I think at the crux of the conversation, at least on the internet, it's been concluded that a person embracing their masculinity, in particular a man, is like a danger almost. It's like we have to curtail that because that can be a dangerous person. And the last thing that I'll say is a lot of the fuel for this kind of conversation, in my opinion, is rooted in a collective belief that society is in the mess that it's in because of the patriarchy. So in other words, if we want to see humanity become better, if we want to see the world become a better place, and if we want to see people do better in life, then we have to break away from that. And in breaking away from that, the best thing for us to do is to embrace the opposite and become a matriarchy. So, in the spirit of becoming a matriarchy, comments like wanting your child to be trans or, homosexual become celebrated comments because it's viewed as now at this point being on the right side of history. And my thing is, I'm not saying that either one is right or wrong. I'm saying that both sides maintain a place within the conversation. But I don't think that's what we're seeing. What we're currently seeing is if a person speaks like Damon Dash, the comments are perceived to be problematic. But if a person does the opposite of that, I wouldn't. If my son becomes, if my son becomes homosexual, I'd be happy. If my son is trans, I would be happy. I would like to raise this weird gender bending family. If you say that kind of stuff, there's a round of applause to go around. And that's the danger inherent in the in this kind of dialogue, is that one is perceived to be wholly right and the other is perceived to be wholly wrong. And I think the reason why that dichotomy exists is because there's a strong element within our current society that wants to embrace a matriarchy, because we're believing at this point that embracing a matriarchy puts us on the right path to righteousness, because the patriarchy put us in the pits. And I say keep thinking that way if you want, because you're eventually going to run out of people to run these power grids. You're going to run out of people to be soldiers on the front line. Exactly. You're going to run out of people to hop on these power lines when the power goes out, when a hurricane comes through. You're going to run out of bodies to do this stuff, to maintain infrastructure, to keep if you think all of that stuff can be going based solely off of the strength of women and a matriarchy, I think you have another thing coming. But that is what the world would have us to believe. And it's a very delicate line to cross. But this is where we are, man. I really do believe that that's where this stuff is rooted in. But, and I'm not up here saying that I'm the biggest Dame Dash fan in the world, because I'm not. Yeah. But I would never castigate a man for saying that he desires to raise his son to embrace his masculinity. And I don't even need to bring in toxicity, because in my world, one is not inherently toxic just because they're masculine. That's that SJW social justice world and the troll world that people believe that crap. I don't believe that. So I don't even need to bring up toxicity, because I separate the two. Toxic people are bad people, and women and feminine-minded people can be toxic too. It is not endemic to being masculine. So you can forget that fallacy, because it's not even real. But I would never criticize a guy for speaking in this way, because you need more of that to counterbalance what I largely see is a lot of insanity going on out here in these streets.
Yeah, man, well said. And I was going to bring up that point too, as far as like the whole matriarchy thing, because even if it did go to a matriarchy, it still would have to be order, and men would still have to be men. It's just that women would be, in positions of power or something like that. But men would still have to be men to do the stuff that you mentioned, the defense, the order, men still have a role in society. And what's going on right now is them telling men not to be men at all. So even if it was a matriarchy situation and women run the world, but your solution to that was to turn men into these creatures that are not following their natural order, then the world will still be chaotic. So, you don't win. You don't win with this stuff trying to dethrone men from being men. And as you mentioned, man, toxicity goes on both sides. And of course, all men ain't got it all together, and all women don't have it all together. So the world needs to get rid of toxic people, period. And so, and like you said, man, just because a man says that he wants to stand on principles and be a man, that doesn't inherently make him evil. And what a mind fudge that has gone on in the last 20 or so years, man, that it's really gotten to this point to where it's become almost commonplace amongst the up and coming generations, and even people in our cohort, to go along with this goofy rhetoric. But to just touch on real quick for the comment section on the Dame video, man. That sound like young kids, and that sound like the people that bought into the socialization. Because again, why there's people out there that's older than Dame Dash with kids that's younger than his kid.
Some of these avatars look like grown people, bro. Just looking at the avatar, they look like people that ain't kids. Is all I'm saying.
This is ridiculous. Hey man. Hey man. Hey, are we cooked yet? Are we well done? You know what I'm saying? Somebody, hey man, are we done? Because I feel like, man, we're really getting there, man.
Yeah, I feel as though we're getting there too. And again, it's not because of the existence of these talking points. It's that we have categorized one as being righteous and the other is not. That's the part about it that I find the most frustrating. But it is what it is. Again, I am not a Dame Dash fan. I am indifferent towards him. Don't know too much about him to reflect on his character at all. The only thing I know him from is back in the 90s and early 2000s, dancing around with his shirt off, holding champagne bottles in the Jay-Z videos.
Yeah,
and other than that, though, I personally, because of the way things are currently, find it hard to, within reason, criticize a guy for saying that he wants his son's main influence to be a man, preferably that man being his own father. Now, within reason. So if he was up there saying some crazy stuff, that would be a different story. But he wasn't saying nothing crazy.
Yeah, according to the internet, he was saying crazy stuff. Hot Wheels and bucket hats.
Yeah, it is what it is, man. But this is where we are. And so to that, I'll say, Dame Dash, I think you were being an idiot for how you were talking about staying put with the hurricane. That was dumb. But the comments about his son, I don't see anything wrong with that. So it is what it is. Shouts out to RG on the chat. He says this isn't a matriarchy. This is a pushing of perverted patriarchy. So those are his comments there. And then we had another guy pop up in here, Josh Bixby, who said perfect example of black homophobia. So I guess he's saying we're homophobes, or I don't know what he's saying. I guess he's calling us homophobes. But either way, all sides of the conversation need to be had, sir, not just yours, if that is what you were suggesting.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, really. Shouts out to Dame Dash on this one, man. Raise your son to be masculine. There's nothing wrong with that, bro.
Yeah. Hey, and by the way, man, if you guys are watching the post talk on this, let us know down in the comment section, guys. Is all masculinity a bad thing? Is Dame trying to do this a bad thing? Should he allow the mother to be the primary influence on his life? Let us know down in the comment section, and we'll greatly appreciate that. Love to hear it. Homophobia.
Oh boy. Next up, we're going to talk about comments made by Bow Wow, who thinks that the Hollywood party scene just ain't the same now that Diddy has been incarcerated. So, according to Bow Wow, one of Diddy's main influences on the game, if you will, is what he meant to the party scene. And also, according to him, now that Diddy is no longer here, there is a void in said party scene, and it just don't feel the same no more without him around. So, people are talking about these comments that Bow Wow made here, and we'll be no exception to that. As I get this screen share up here for context purposes. Come on, StreamYard, you can do it.
Come on, StreamYard.
There we go. It's coming up.
Man, Bow Whistler.
Yeah.
What is this guy on?
Bow Whistler.
Jeez.
Yeah. So yeah, man, Bow Wow feels like the party scene just ain't the same. Of course, he tried to couch his comments by drawing a distinction between Diddy the partier and Diddy the person. But, people are nevertheless going to draw those correlations regardless. So this says Bow Wow claims that Diddy scandal has killed the celebrity party scene. Bow Wow is one of many celebrities who recently reflected on how the Diddy scandal has impacted pop culture as a whole. The Bad Boy Mogul's federal charges for alleged sex trafficking, plus many other civil allegations, remain unconfirmed and unverified at press time. But the Columbus native shared on the More to the Story podcast that Sean Combs' absence also impacted the prevalence of normal celebrity parties. So that's the quote of what he said. But instead of reading that, I'll just go ahead and play the clip so that we can actually hear what it is that he had to say. So let's see. I might have to refresh this tab, but hopefully not.
Never. Just never thought I'd see it like this. Like, nah. He's like the gatekeeper to the game. To the point to where what weekend just passed? Like BET Award weekend, it didn't like the past two, they just didn't feel right. Because there was no motion, there was no parties. There was nowhere to go. Like,
let's be very specific between like, parties and freak offs.
No, the industry, like the parties that we attend, like we attend. Me, the Terrences,
I left before one. I never stayed. I've only been to 2 parties and like, I never stayed.
Like, but it shows, and once again, I'm separating it, right? I'm talking about him as the artist, the person, right? How monumental and how important he was to the culture, because I said, Jermaine, there's no parties. Every year, dude had the fest, and you feel it. It's like a whole. It's like, damn, we ain't going. He was just such a gatekeeper for the liquor in the clubs, like he was everything hip hop. You know what I mean? So for that to die out, it's like you just would have never thought. And especially when you look at somebody as like somebody you study, somebody you idolize, somebody who you looked at like, yo, when it comes to hustle, when it comes to business, and it's like he was the guy that every young hustler looked up to and wanted to either be like or wanted to, man, I'm gonna pass this nigga. Like I want to pass this nigga. Like he just step your hustle game up. You know what I mean? So it's sad and it's messed up that, we gotta witness this in this time, but it's fucked up.
And his kids, I mean, we gotta sympathize for them too.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
What the hell did I just hear, bro?
I don't know. You know what I think? I honestly think that
what?
I think that he started talking and then he realized, like, after he started talking, that at some point there are going to be people who interpret his comments as supporting him. And so he tried to couch it and be like, oh, I'm separating him, what he did and who he is as a person from like the other stuff and the parties that we went to. But I just don't think that it translated in the way that he intended for it to. But be that as it may, that is his views. Bow Wow expressing that with Diddy gone, the celebrity party scene just isn't the same anymore. So what do you make of those comments?
I think they're damning. That's what I think of those comments, man. I saw, a part of this clip. I didn't see the whole thing. I mean, to me, as you mentioned, him trying to clean it up was just digging a bigger ditch. Like, what the hell was he even mentioning? Talking about like everybody wanted to be like, who wanted to be like? Nobody wanted to be like this. Diddy has been nobody really respected Diddy for a very long time. And honestly, it was because of how he did business. And so this is even before all of the, scandalous stuff that came out against him. People was like, hey man, don't sign the bad boy, or, oh, hey, the bad boy curse, or nobody wanted to be like him, like a hustler. The normal people. So I guess when he's referring to everybody, I guess that means everybody in his world.
Or everybody who didn't actually work for him. I mean,
that too. But even then, for him to say, gatekeepers, and he was a he was a gatekeeper to the, what do you mean by that? I mean, I know what you mean by that, but a gatekeeper in the game is, well, that's not really a good thing. Shout out to JV Wins, bro. Are you here, or are you look like JV Wins is celebrating Halloween? You see your frozen image, bro? Is that just on my side?
No, I'm not surprised. Go ahead, keep going. You can still hear me though, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and attempt to correct it. I got a little technical issue going on.
Yeah, bro. It looked like you saw Diddy somewhere, man. Like you got scared. But no, but all seriousness, man. This whole thing here, man, to me is telling, in the sense that, you know, this guy grew up in the industry. I think he's been around these people since he was like 6 or 7 or whatever, you know. So he done got you know, shout out, hey man, what up, y'all? You know what I'm saying? Doggone panorama, doggone full screen. But I think that I really think that Bow Wow got Stockholmed into this thing, man. This is not making an excuse, but he definitely was a victim of this lifestyle. And by him being victimized by it and him being so young and naive, you know, he just got swept up in the game. And his life is the game. So when the game is shutting down, he don't know how to operate. You know what? No motion. What kind of motion? What kind of motion are you? Oh, the baby oil motion. You know what I'm saying? The Jergens motion. Like what kind of motion are you into, Bow Wow? So for me personally, when I heard this, it was telling. I appreciate him using the verbiage gatekeeper, because honestly, that's what we've been calling the Diddler his whole career. This guy, along with other industry-ites, use these parties as gatekeeping mechanisms to keep people in or out of the industry. These are the people that you hear from all the time. They're the ones that keep power bottoming it up. Like, what's your boy name? TD Jakes. Or maybe like the mayor of New York that gave the Diddler the key to the city. So the interesting thing about all of this stuff is that Diddy is really taking the fall for an entire industry that does this. Unfortunately, Diddy was not the only person doing these types of things. All right. There's other diddlers out there. There's other people that have basements that lead to other mansions. You know, there's other people that do this. And I view this whole entire situation as Diddy taking the fall, being the fall guy. You know what I'm saying? What was that guy that was in JFK, man? The Ponzi. Not the Ponzi. Damn. What was that guy name? Damn, it escapes me at that point. If you guys know who I'm talking about, the guy that Lee Harvey Oswald. There you go. You know, he's the Lee Harvey Oswald of this thing. You know what I'm saying? Now, Diddy actually was out here doing it, but he's just the fall guy. And the only people that we're hearing names of are Black entertainers and actors and athletes. You know, your boy LaFreakoff, you know, he said it himself, man. Ain't no party like a diddler party. So that were you know, partaking in these things. Hey, you know, I was holding it down, boss. And I'll let you go.
You get the filibuster of the year award.
Hey man, I'll be gerrymandering it up, bro. So it's all good. The last thing I'll say before I let you go, because I was pretty much getting into the whole fact that you know, Diddler's a gatekeeper, but you know, this whole thing, there's like I mentioned, there's other people out here that are out here doing this type of stuff. You know, Diddy's just the fall guy. And we're only hearing about the Black athletes and entertainers. I'm sure there were the Leor Cohens, the whoever else, bigwig execs that attended these parties. We're not hearing their names. You know, the people that put Diddy on, the people that kept Diddy. We're not hearing their names. And the politicians out there that wasn't the mayor of New York, we're not hearing their names either, because Diddy was out there telling us to vote or die. So he was already out there with the DNC and other big wig people. You telling me none of them attended any of these freak offs? So, this is a very interesting situation. But as I mentioned, it is telling that he did mention that Diddy was a gatekeeper, because indeed he was. And if you didn't make it clap, you were not you were not going to be on MTV. But sir, what are your thoughts on Bow Whistler saying that ain't no motion in the city no more, ain't no motion in the game now that the gatekeeper is gone? What are your thoughts about all of this?
Yeah, my thoughts on what he said is that's the typical response from someone who looks at a situation and analyzes the way it's going to impact them and not how it impacts most people. Like I think people are selfish, and I'm not even talking about just him. I mean people in general. Most of us, we have a tendency whenever something takes place, we immediately react to it by trying to determine how is this going to directly impact me. So like, we don't really think about things in terms of community and in a broader scope, how it impacts humanity. I think because of our embracing of a narcissistic society and celebration of narcissistic tendencies, I think people have a general propensity for taking a story or something that happens in the world or a situation and trying to analyze how is this directly going to impact me? How does this affect me? I don't care about everything else that's going on. How does this directly impact me? And so for him, he's looking at this situation and he's analyzing how it directly impacts him, which is without Diddy's parties, no more fun for Bow Wow. I think it's emblematic of our tendency to think inwardly and be selfish when it comes to broader situations that impact the world in a roundabout way. Because if the implications for this situation with Diddy run as deep as is being speculated, it's going to have a wide reaching effect. And it's not going to be something that is just secular and has only something to do with within the parameters of hip hop, if you will. But for someone such as him, who I would assume was never involved or never went to the freak offs, I don't know. I'm just playing devil's advocate and assuming that for the sake of it. I'm playing devil's advocate and assuming that for the sake of this conversation, I think he looks at what's going on and he's selfishly trying to look at how it directly impacts him. And the way it directly impacts him is without Diddy throwing his parties, there's no more. That's one less way for me to go out and have fun and party and be Bow Wow and do my thing because Diddy's parties ain't around. And so there's a void there. That's kind of how this rang for me. Is just our nature as people to selfishly look inward and think about how things directly impact us individually. And pretty much completely disregard how some of these things directly impact the broader, scope and the litany of others and all the other people and all the other aspects of industry and everywhere else that this thing touched. It's no different than when I kind of comment on enablers, because I feel as though enablers are the reason why people like him are able to do what they do for as long as they do it. Because there's people along the way who make money off of what people like him do. There's businesses that profit. If you were the business who he bought the baby oil from, you were making money off of what he was doing. And so you're looking at it selfishly and you're saying, hey, not my people, not my family, not my relatives, but I'm making money, so I don't care. This directly impacts me and I in a positive way because I'm making my money. Therefore, I turn the other cheek and I don't really worry about it until it does impact me directly at some point. God forbid. And I think that that's what he's doing here. How does this impact me? Oh, that's one less party for me to go to. That's one less outlet for me to cut loose, have fun, get my Instagram models, do my thing, be Bow Wow and be popping and get my Instagram and my TikTok litty, right? He's looking at it saying that's one less angle for me to be able to take advantage of that. Meanwhile, though, there's a wider reaching aspect of this that affects a lot of people. So at the end of the day, whether Bow Wow is able to continue to attend Diddy parties or not, it's actually a victory for the greater good if these allegations turn out to be true and these things are no longer taking place, because a lot of people got hurt in the process.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And, there's nothing stopping him from attending a regular party. So BET weekend did have parties. He mad he couldn't go to the Diddy style parties. Because there was parties that weekend, I know it. He just couldn't go to the Diddler ones. And that's what I was saying while you were off, bro. You know what I'm saying? He got in the game when he was a young guy, bro, like 6 years old, 7 years old. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't making music then, but he was around all these people at that age. And this guy speaks as a victim, in my opinion, because he was at those parties way before he was old enough to be there. And so, in my opinion, this is all he knows is game and level of partying, And I also find it funny that these people, like he said, hey, the parties me and you went to, you know what I'm saying? Because Roxy tried to separate herself. And then so he was like, nah, the parties me and you went to. Because hey, first of all, you don't sit on that couch and be a part of 106 and Park if you weren't sitting on somebody's couch. Okay, let's go ahead and be honest here. So she attended these parties and she said, oh yeah, but let's be clear. And I find it funny that everybody left before midnight. I find that real hilarious. That all of these people that are coming out of the woodwork now that say, oh yeah, I was there, but I left before it got crazy. Did you? Did you? Because the people that left before I got crazy, we don't know their names because they didn't make it. But the people that did attend those parties, yeah, that was the people that we saw on BET, MTV. And Diddy was bipartisan. You didn't have to be a part of Bad Boy for him to get a taste. You had to. He was Epstein of this in the rap world. And so if you got down with these types of parties, if you slathered on any of that baby oil, those were the people that we saw on TV. I'm gonna go ahead and say that. And I think that Bow Wow missed the baby oil. Because there's no other reason for him to be sitting there justifying why the game missed Diddy. The game missed Diddy. Talking about something for the culture. What culture? I'm really baffled. He's really talking like a victim. He's really sounding like somebody that don't even know that he was a victim himself. So this is wild business to me. I was shocked. For these people that are coming out of the woodwork, keep on coming out. I'm loving it. I'm finding phenomenal entertainment out of this, more entertainment than your actual careers were. And as you guys sit out here and you sit here and try to defend Diddy or anything else, defend Diddy without defending him, for those people out there that do that, you guys need to stop. But yeah, man, to me, this is ultimately hilarious. Roxy, you don't get a pass from me. Girl, I know you was there. Bow Wow said it. So yeah, man, this is just how it goes, man. And I'm glad the party's dried up. They need to dry up,
Shouts out to Roxy. Roxy I always had a soft spot for Roxy.
Hey, man.
Roxy holds a little place in my heart. She's a part of my come up, back during those 106 and Park days. I'm not gonna bash you.
I was a free man. Yeah. I like Free more. Roxy was tier 2, man. She was B grade compared to Free, bro. If you ask me, Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think most people would agree with you, which is fine. I don't mind being by myself on
I
that.
do remember
Yeah,
that actually. You were a
yeah,
Roxy man.
I did. I like Roxy and Julissa. I like both of them.
Oh yeah,
Free was
yeah, yeah,
Free
Julissa.
was cool, but you know I'm a face guy, so
Yeah. Hey, what? What? Hey, boy. Hey, in the comment section, y'all. Were you a Free man or a Roxy man? Me personally,
you're
man. You
going
can
to
put.
that the Free's going to win that one. I'm already conceding that. I
Hey,
already
you
know
never
that.
know, bro. There's a lot of Roxyites out there, bro. Put a
Yeah.
poll up.
But yeah, man, I just talk to yeah, all of that. And then, with respect to him talking about wanting to be like Diddy or chase down Diddy or pass Diddy, like,
What?
ask people like, Danity Kane and Black Rob and G Dep and
Right,
Mace and
right.
Craig
Shine.
Mack and the basically everybody in the band don't got nothing nice to say about the guy. Like, ask all of these people whether Diddy is someone who, from a business standpoint, you should emulate. I just don't. So basically, you want to emulate the slumlord, the colored slave master, if you will, because that famously is how Diddy ran his ship. You didn't own the rights to any of your music. You jumped at his beck and call. You performed when he told you to. He made the majority of the money. Why would you want to work for someone like that? But then again, if you aspire to employ others and siphon them for as many resources as possible to better yourself, then I guess that is someone who you'd want to emulate. But that, of course, makes you a far more shardy person. So again, all the way around, I'm not really seeing the drawback to him getting his comeuppance. And for people such as him, I think that it kind of reveals the nature of his humanity. Speaking of Bow Wow. So hopefully more of these people learn how to better couch their viewpoints, because this kind of rubbed me the wrong way, just from the standpoint that it just makes you sound like an incredibly insular, selfish person to even talk like this. And if your business acumen, if you want that to evolve to be the way his was, then that says something even more about your humanity, if you ask me. So it is what it is, but thankfully, we don't see Bow Wow records popping up out here in these streets.
Hey,
So
from what I hear, man, he working on a thing with Chris Breezy. So or working on a track or something, not like a full album, but you know what I'm saying? Like, he's trying to make a comeback in life, man. I'll tell you, listen, I'll tell you like this, Bow Wow. All right. I'm gonna tell you like this, bro. You know what I'm saying? And all jokes aside, you know what I'm saying? Go get some help, bro. Because anybody that had a take like that, they need some help, bro. That was absolutely awful. And the climate that we're in, for you to be that tone deaf, Diddy must have called in a favor or something, like, "Hey man, defend me," or something. Like, this didn't even need to air. You didn't even have to talk about this.
well, what you need to the thing about it is, these people, and this is going to be very simply stated, but nevertheless, you really do have to think about it and remember it when you're analyzing why these people would say some of the stuff that they say. They're not really that smart. Like, sometimes you have to remember that a lot, like some of these people aren't really that smart. And I'm not trying to. I know that makes I know it makes it sound like I'm being dismissive, but sometimes people just aren't that smart, and they just say stuff. So I like, for him, I really do believe that he was just saying, this affected me. I'm bummed out because I can't party anymore. woe is me because I can no longer party. Right. So it is what it is, man. I just think people selfishly think about how things impact them and them only. And for him, someone who allegedly wasn't touched, no pun intended, directly in any kind of way via these weird situations, he's looking at it and saying, "Oh, I'm so bored now because I can't party the way I used to." And I think that that's a ridiculous take because there are a lot of people who are negatively impacted by that. So
Yeah, man.
it is what it is.
Yeah. Hey, I can't even say good luck on this one, man.
Yeah.
I can't.
Shouts out to Marcus Dudley as always, checking in from Maryland.
Oh, yeah. What up, big dude?
Day one as always. Shouts out to Angel Hall on the chat. RG chimed in once again. He said Free had that bubble. Yeah, she did. She did.
That's what I'm getting at, bro. Like,
I know. That's why I said most people are going to be on Free side on that. I already know. Hey, look, I like Free. I do like Free. I'm just saying which one, do I remember more fondly? I'd have to think about that. But at this moment in time, I'd probably say Roxy. But I might wake up tomorrow morning and think differently about that.
Come on. Hey, put a poll up, bro. Put a poll up.
Now we have Ari Lennox, who has decided that she is going to forever retire from social media. And she made an announcement detailing her plan to do so. She cites the well-being of her mental health or the well-being of her self and her overall well-being as to why she is moving away from this, but not without giving everybody a blueprint for how you'll still be able to interact with her and find her. But she says beginning, I think December, I think she said starting in December, she will no longer be on social media. She is getting out of there. She is ridding herself from it because her happiness means more than anything else. So this says Ari Lennox announces permanent departure from social media. My happiness is worth more. Ari Lennox has kicked off the countdown to her permanent departure from all social media platforms, offering fans a detailed explanation behind her decision. The DC native ironically made the announcement via social media on Friday, cross-posting the same mirror selfie and lengthy caption to Instagram and Facebook. I'm working on a plan to transition off of social media for good. I don't believe I'll ever mature and be happy as long as I have it. So my last day of socials will be December 18th, my 2 years sobriety anniversary. I will be deleting my Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok permanently. The fear of losing brand deals, music sales, N-words, and bitches will no longer keep me here. To all of my beautiful fans, I'm just not happy nor thriving here. I have a very toxic and codependent relationship with these apps. My happiness is worth more to me than using these platforms to promote. I truly believe I can get creative with marketing elsewhere. I'm so exhausted with my addiction to the internet and gossip and attention and validation and yearning to be in control and oversharing. I just want to be free and complete. I would like to offer other spaces where you can find me, and that's youtube.com/Ari Lennox and arilennox.com and on the singing stage or outside. I ain't going front like this has been cute. It hasn't. I love y'all so much. Please subscribe to my mailing list on my website to remain updated on my 2025 album and tour, or don't. Also, my bad if my drama causes any distractions or insensitivity, as I'm aware of the constant horror going on in the world. I just need to give my sweeties a heads up. I'll be good, and I'm excited for this journey. I'm an extreme person. It will forever be all or nothing with me. She signed off using both her stage name, Ari, and her real first name, Courtney. While fans flooded the comments of her Facebook post with support and empathy, those on Instagram did not have the option to comment on the post at all. The IG post did receive over 100,000 likes within the first 2 hours. So, Ari Lennox is detoxing forever from social media. She's getting off. She referenced a lot of stuff in there, man. Just to repeat some of those highlights. The fear of losing brands, music sales, and N-words and B-words will no longer keep me here. I am just not happy nor thriving here. I have a very toxic and codependent relationship. My happiness is worth more than using these things to promote. I'm exhausted with my addiction to the internet and gossip, attention and validation, and yearning to be in control. So what are your thoughts on Ari Lennox saying enough is enough with social media? She is done. For all intents and purposes, it is a wrap. If you do not see her on YouTube or subscribe to her mailing list or check out her website, there's pretty much no way that you can know what she has going on.
Well, I mean, I gotta say, I commend it. I really commend her for doing this. It's bold of her for having so many followers and people that are interested in what she got going on. I don't know if, I mean, she's gonna delete it off her phone. I don't know if she's gonna delete her account. I mean, I don't think it makes sense to delete your account. I mean, I think it just makes sense to, still run, still have your team run it. You don't have to be on it. I think one of these things where, it's a two-pronged thing. It's one of those things that was best said silent so you can keep making your cash. But I think this is also a situation of her saying that she's done with it so others could follow suit. So I commend her for that. By the way, you can follow me on Instagram at Dogon_SS. TikTok at Dogon_SS as well. But I really feel like, you know what I'm saying? On the flip side of that, you're not really making a bold statement about not being on Facebook no more or Instagram. TikTok nowadays, for you to say that you're not in a TikTok, that's pretty big. But if you're on TikTok, you see how trash it is. So you don't really need that either. So, so it's kind of easy to do that. If you're a person that, a little bit older and, you're thinking about your well-being or whatever, you really don't need those apps. Like they really have degenerated into absolute garbage. It is actually just a cesspool full of whatever. You don't control your For You pages anymore. You used to be able to control that with the people that you followed, the images or videos you liked, and you would get actual recommendations based upon your personal algorithm. Nowadays, it's just absolute whatever they want to feed you. And so I can see why, her not wanting to be involved in, gossip, garbage, and the melee that's, running rampant on those platforms. Shout out the YouTube algorithm. We appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys serve up this video as well. But at the same time, man, YouTube searches ain't what they used to be either. You could try to search for what you're actually trying to look for and you're not going to find it. So, social media has really taken a turn from actually being social media for people to actually want to find what they want to find and be a part of what they want to be a part of, to what these corporations want people to turn into. So for her to be like, hey, man, I don't want to be a part of this algorithm no more, I commend her for that. And honestly, for anybody else that was teetering on the edge, that opened those apps a little less than they used to, go full bore and delete those daggone things. Or, just deactivate your account or remove them from your phone. But if you don't, again, guys, this is Dogon_SS. You can follow me on all of those platforms. But sir, what do you think? Sir JV Wins, how do you feel about this? Her removing herself from the social media world, for her own sanctity. What are your thoughts?
She sounds like somebody who is addicted. And when you're addicted to something, you have to go cold turkey. There's no middle ground. Alcoholics can't drink. They can't be like, I can be a social drinker. I'm not an alcoholic. I can have a few drinks here or there. Doesn't rule me, control me. I can still function. I don't have an overwhelming desire to continue to do it or indulge in it. Not everyone has that luxury. People who have a dependency towards alcohol have to attend meetings and they have to control their sobriety. You have to go cold turkey. You can't be 1 foot in and 1 foot out. It's a lifelong journey. She sounds like she's an addict. And when you're an addict, you have to recuse yourself from the environment completely. That's what it sounds like to me. 2 weeks ago, we talked about the doctor who said social media has made people more narcissistic. Mm-hmm. He said that people externalize their self-worth because of excessive social media use. Therefore, turning inward in such a way that their reflection, that the reflection that they see of themselves internally, both and externally, in terms of who they see in the mirror, has nothing to do with how they feel about themselves, but everything to do with how they feel others feel about them. And in the process, it causes you to think negatively about you, to hate yourself, to feel worse about who you are as a person. It's made people more narcissistic. He broke it down scientifically explaining this. I encourage everybody to go and check that video out a couple weeks ago on this channel. Last week, we talked about Method Man, who, along with Fat Joe, expressed the mental health journey that he continues to be on, where he really had to seek therapy and go through various procedural methodologies in order to best cope on a daily basis with his fluctuating mental status. And I, particularly when we discussed that topic, correlated people's general decline in mental health overall to excessive technological use, social media specifically, as an unintended consequence. That is my personal opinion. You can disagree if you want, that's fine. But I think if you look at somebody like Ari Lennox, it is clear to me she feels as though this is something that she needs to do in order to seek happiness for herself. She sounds like she's an addict. And at this point, I personally think that you can group, I don't know, man, this might sound a little extreme, but I think social media can be categorized along with alcohol, Percocet. What are some of these other addictive yet legal drugs?
Oxycodone,
oxycodone, hydrocodone, morphine. Like I pretty much at this point group social media in with those various things. I consider it to be a drug. Excessive use of it creates addictive personality traits. And some people get wrapped up in it and some people don't. It all depends on what your vice is. Some people get addicted to pains. Some people get addicted to pills. Some people get addicted to alcohol. Some people get addicted to various other drugs. Some people get addicted to perks, Xannies, whatever. All right. And then you have some people who get addicted to social media. But because social media remains the wild, wild west and completely deregulated, and it's just an anything goes world where it's completely pay to play. Any form of content can get put on there so long as you're willing to pay for it to be there. There's no way to really police it and figure out how to create an environment in which people can consume this stuff responsibly. Social media to me is the next frontier. As they created laws, you got to be 21 to drink. You got to be 21 to gamble. Gambling is another one. People can get addicted to gambling. That's another one. Sex, adult movies, pornography. Those are other addictions, right? I group social media in with all that stuff, in my opinion. And where they say you got to be 18 or older to consume adult content, you got to be 21 and older to drink. You got to be 21 and over to gamble. Social media at this point, because of the nature of it, remains completely declassified and unregulated. But in my opinion, the brain can get addicted to that crap just as much as those other things. That's why I feel like she's talking like this. If you feel as though you need to go 100% cold turkey on something because of the way that it is negatively impacting you, to me, that reeks of an unhealthy addiction to something. So I think as time passes along and we learn more about the mental and cerebral impacts of some of these various applications and we get more educated on them as a society, we will learn more than we already know how truly negatively impactful the excessive use of these apps are. Speaking on my own personal journey, I removed myself from these various things unless they directly teach me something or make me money a very long time ago. I purged all of my accounts of every piece or form of content that I felt negatively impacted me mentally. Now, again, social media is not something that has created an unhealthy codependent relationship with me. Therefore, I can still dip and dab and use it here or there without it being a full-blown addiction. There are, however, various other vices to which I cannot say that. And I think for her, social media happens to be a vice to which she cannot say that. And there's a litany of other people out here to whom that also applies. So to that end, I congratulate her so long as she's serious and really committed, because who knows, she might jump back on Instagram and TikTok a year from now. Who knows? But if she's serious, I commend her. I hope that it sticks. And way more people, far too many more people need to follow suit, because some of y'all out there really do need to put this social media down. It is rotting your brain. It is rotting your brain just like GMO, mass produced foods. It is rotting your brain just like candy and soda. It is rotting your brain just like all of these other things that rot your brain. It's no different. In my opinion, it is poison to the mind. And if you cannot healthily counterbalance them with actually being in the world and not allowing that to shape your entire identity, it is best that you just get off entirely.
Yeah, man, I agree, man. But it's not, again, and I agree with that, at least with the aspect of, this was her addiction, she was probably on that thing a lot, trying to help grow a business, trying to really interact with her people for real. There was probably already an interest that she had with it. So for all of those reasons, I'm pretty sure she was intimately involved with it. So, right on with that. But at the same time, as I said in my first, comments, those apps, the ones she named, they already lost their luster. Like there's no use to getting on that outside of TikTok. TikTok still has a purpose and a point to it, in the sense that it's the wave. It's what the kids are doing nowadays. So that would be a pretty big sacrifice, I would say, for her to make, to not be on TikTok either. But again, TikTok is it's such a niche thing or niche thing for people that get involved with that. So yeah, man. I mean, I commend her for this. And if this is an addiction of hers, as you mentioned, well, that's basically what she said, because it was impacting her so much because she was on it so much.
Right.
So
Yeah.
if this is an addiction that she had, it's good that she takes it head up like this. And that's the best way of alleviating yourself of that. And if there's anybody else out there, really, because I've had my moments with Instagram in particular. I wasn't really on Facebook at all. Still not. But I was real heavy on Instagram. And once the algorithm started getting out of my hands, like once what was coming in my feed was getting out of my hands, I just had enough. Even now, man, the people that I do follow, I know they be posting stuff, but it don't be going across my timeline. It'd be garbage. So and the For You page, it's nothing I want. So I was like, well, I'm not gonna force myself to be on here to look at stuff that I don't want to see. So the same thing that goes on with TikTok, man. It's like I try to dislike, not be interested, block people. They're still gonna give you trash, and it gets to a point and it's like, why are you still scrolling? So I just exit out of the app. So I'm pretty sure she's hit these apexes as well. Somewhere in her life where it was like, hey man, what's the use of these things? So she said, I'm still gonna be on YouTube though. So hey, join us out here on the YouTube streets.
Right.
YouTube is still thugging. This isn't technically a social media platform, so I guess she can skate off technicalities. But there's still messiness out here. There's still tea being spilled. All right. There's still doom and gloom out here. And any type of vice you want to get yourself into. The only thing you gotta do is like one video and your algorithm gonna go nuts off that. It's like, hey man, look, I like one cat video. That was a cute damn cat. Now they're sending me all kinds of garbage. You know what I'm saying? But make sure you guys hit the like button here so you guys can get recommended more conscious approach videos. All right. But yeah, man. So kudos to her. And anybody else out there that's on the fence with this thing, man, you don't have to be at addiction level. That stuff's toxic in general. So, follow suit, man, and give it less hours. Last thing I'll say is, like, when I was on TikTok, when I first got on it, they had like a wellness section in there. I was like, wellness. And I clicked on it and it was like, this how many hours you were spending on TikTok this week versus, Because when I first got it, I was like, and then one week I went ham. You know, I was all up in it. And then they showed me a bar graph, and it spiked one week, and I was like, well, I don't like that. And if there is like a wellness check type thing in here, it's probably significant, you know, for them to like legal reasons. So I was like, I don't think I should have this. So I deleted it for a while, but I downloaded it again for business reasons. But I still make sure I keep it under control and only try to look up stuff that I find genuinely interesting, because I used to get a lot of my information from social media. Not all of my information, but when somebody had something interesting to say, it gave me something to research. So I would use it as a hub for information, find something that I like, but I'm not going to listen to this guy. I'm going to go actually do the background research, because I've never heard of this person before, whoever they mentioned that has this book. So now I'm about to, figure out what they got, listen to their lectures or what have you. And, those algorithms aren't there anymore. I'll be searching and searching, but they're not there. So I have to find new ways of learning things, from people that I don't already know myself. So yeah, man, it's crazy out there, man. But yeah, man, I really agree with this. I stand behind this.
I do as well. I think people have become addicted to it unhealthily. And one thing that I will agree with her on is she says she truly believes that she can still market herself without being in these places. That is 100% true. Yeah, if you want to reach particular demographics, I suppose maintaining a presence on these various platforms is helpful. But I'm a firm believer that the cream always rises to the top. If you have true gifts and talents, and you know how to leverage them in the proper capacities, you don't need to be all over Instagram, TikTok, and social media in order to be relevant and get to where you want to be. Look at all of the other. There are people who are actors and actresses and celebrities and whatnot, and they do their thing, and their activity on social media is minimal at best. And they're probably not even the ones who are actually doing it. They probably farm the work out to somebody else who actually likes doing that stuff. So if you truly have abilities, whether you're on there or not, or maintain any sort of prominent presence, in my opinion, doesn't matter. Look at all these older people who are still doing a thing, entertainment wise, and they rarely ever post. Andre 3000 don't be on Instagram at all, but as soon as he does anything, people are talking about it, whether it's in music or anything else. So if you truly have these gifts and you're leveraging them in the right way to contribute to the world, you don't need to be there. It is a foolhardy idea if you choose to believe in the idea that you have to be in these places, because you don't. You really don't. So shouts out to her. If she truly is committed to that, I think more people need to follow suit, because way too many of y'all are addicted to this stuff. And I see what y'all be posting, and it's like, damn, do you really have that much time in the day? But a lot of people just are on these things and they spend a little too much time, and a lot of that needs to get dialed back. I really do believe that social media is a drug. It's just a deregulated one. And it's not the only it's not the only drug that's deregulated, but it's probably the most prevalent. And there have already been studies that have been conducted, which shows that receiving a like on a post is a dopamine rush that is the same as the kind of dopamine rush that your brain receives when you take actual drugs. Like, there have been studies on this scientifically that have proven that is the case. So don't take my word for it. Go and look up those journal articles and those educational research pieces that back that idea up. So good luck to Miss Lennox out there. If she's truly committed to this, I back her 100%. I think that people are better the less time they spend on these apps. Learn something, make money, but to just indulge in it and create a sense of identity based on your activity from it, which is what I believe most people do, is really problematic.
Agreed. 1,000.
Shouts out to Ari Lennox. Good luck.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Chris Breezy. Chris Breezy, who is being campaigned against to not perform in South Africa. Due to Chris Brown's past, there is an effort to ban him from performing in South Africa. So Chris Brown has shows scheduled in South Africa, I believe later this year, like in December. And there aren't many people who are very happy about this. Well, there are people who are happy about it, but there's also a lot of people who don't want to see this happen. And there's a petition that's been canvassed for him to not be allowed to perform. And it, as you can see there from the screen share, as of the time of the recording of this video, currently has over 20,000 signatures. So this says Chris Brown's South Africa concerts facing backlash. Petition for him to stop performing has over 20,000 signatures. South African campaigners for women's rights have created a petition to ban Chris Brown from performing in the country in December. BBC reports that the advocacy group Women for Change started the petition that currently has more than 20,000 signatures to prevent Brown from performing in a country with one of the highest rates of gender-based violence around the globe. In less than 2 hours, Brown's concerts at the FNB Stadium in Johannesburg sold out. The fact that he could even perform there is surprising because he's previously been banned from entering other countries like New Zealand, Canada, the United Kingdom, and Australia.
Wow.
Speaking to BBC about Brown's upcoming concert, Sabrina Walter, the executive director of Women for Change, expressed her frustration. When I saw the news that Chris Brown was coming to South Africa, I was shocked and deeply disappointed. The petition was started to send a strong message that we will not tolerate the celebration of individuals with a history of violence against women. Brown currently has 2 concerts planned in South Africa, one on December 14th and one on December 15th. Brown's history of abuse and allegations is set to be covered in the upcoming docuseries Chris Brown, A History of Violence, which airs on Investigation Discovery on October 27th. In the trailer for the docuseries that released last month, it indicates that it'll revisit Brown's earliest domestic violence allegations involving Rihanna and Karrueche Tran. Near the trailer's conclusion, an anonymous accuser starts to share a story about the singer, saying, I have not spoken about this matter publicly, but that's not the only way that he can be stopped. So all the rest of that blah, blah, blah goes into his history and all of this good stuff. So as you can see there is a large element in play trying to prevent Chris Brown from performing in Johannesburg this December due to his, past with, domestic disputes. They don't want him there in South Africa at all. So what do you make of this effort to prevent Chris Brown from performing in South Africa?
I didn't know stuff like this happened. So I guess this is a good thing. On one hand, and on the other hand, it's like, is that same energy being kept for everybody, or is this like selective? I would like to know. Not that I'm coming to the defense of Chris Brown, but this feels selective. There's real atrocities that went on to the people of South Africa and against women there too. So I hope that they have stances against, more people than just Chris Brown. So on one hand, I can sit there and go, hey man, if y'all have this and y'all standing on business and, y'all looking out for the best interests of the people and, all of that good stuff, I can't really be mad at that. But I would love the energy to be kept all the same. I was trying to find, real quick, I was trying to find like a ban list of people that they're just banning, or is this just a Chris Brown thing, so I really don't know what to make of this, to be honest. It's a two-sided thing for me. I do wish more people did stuff like this, though. I would say that, in a sense where there is a coalition of people that would, petition to not allow somebody to perform in their state or in their city or something like that, to prevent that person to not, profit in their town or city or country. And, for one, like somebody like Bow Wow now, because of his stance on Diddy parties, I don't want him performing in my city. And I want to be able to walk around and get enough people to say that, hey man, we heard you're performing here at blah blah blah. We don't want you here. And it's like, why? Because your stance on Diddy and his parties, and we don't know what you're about. So if we can do that, and of course I'm being tongue in cheek there, but it's a good example of if this is what you stand for, and you're not about that, then I think more people need to do that. They need to do it with politicians too. They need to do that with corporations. So this act of coming together to prevent something, I think that's what I'm standing behind. I'm hoping this is not selective, because if this is selective, then I do have a problem with that. But this is Women for Change. Chris Brown did do something against women, or a woman, or women, hell. So I can see where their gripe comes from, but I don't know, man. I will just hope that this is not selective outrage, and this is something that they really do for everybody that has something out there against them. But what are your thoughts, man, on Chris Breezy running into some issues? And by the way, whatever stadium he sold out, I think that's like a big place down there. So, and it's a big deal. So for him to be getting, I don't know, banned. What are your thoughts, brother?
Yeah, it is a big place, and I am fairly certain that there's a lot of women who bought those tickets.
Yeah.
So that's the thing about it, is where does the rubber meet the road? Because while I agree in principle, there's no what's the word I'm looking for? Solidarity. There's no solidarity, because there's a lot of women in South Africa who probably want to see Chris Brown perform. So how do you reconcile that? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I largely hear where you're coming from, though. I'm conflicted in that I have a very hard time agreeing with the idea that a transgression. Now, granted, Chris Brown has more than one, but be that as it may, I've always had a problem with the idea that a person who pays for their sins, who does something and paid a penance and served their time and paid their debt to society, should just forever be stripped of their opportunity to earn a livelihood. Like, I have a problem with that. Like, it's weird. I'm not trying to defend him.
I got you.
But the spirit of what I'm trying to say is, like, I really do have an issue with, like, a person basically being mandated towards somebody that in the perpetuity, you can no longer earn a livelihood doing what it is that you worked to earn, doing whatever it is that you cultivated for yourself. Like, I've always had a problem with that. So forever, this guy just can't earn a livelihood and do whatever he wants. Not whatever he wants, but just whatever it is, whatever the thing it is that he always leveraged, or she always leveraged in order to earn a livelihood. We just are okay with saying, for the rest of time, you get that taken away from you. There's something about that I've never really liked. But having said that, I also champion principle. I believe that more people in the world, I believe that the world would be a better place right now if more people lived principled, whatever those principles are. So if there is something that you stand on that you are unwilling to compromise in any capacity, I think that that's a good thing, whatever that is. So if you stand on women's rights and you're unwilling to compromise that, then somebody can hand you $1 million right now. Like, somebody can walk up to you right now and say, I got a briefcase with $1 million in it. But you basically have to do something that is going to have you compromise everything that you've always stood for in terms of women's rights. And for you to turn that down and say no, because my principles are more important than that, we need more people in the world like that.
Agreed.
So whatever it is, if it's women's rights, if it's labor laws, if it's food, if you're passionate about, like you, for example, you like to bring up the things like foods and stuff like that. Whatever it is, my point is standing on business, being principled, and being unwilling to compromise those principles, even when you stand to gain something tremendously. If you choose to forego those principles and you still don't do it, I think the world needs more people like that. So if it turns out that with this particular situation, the people of South Africa or this organization is able to petition this thing so effectively that it turns out that, like, nah, you can't be here, bro. You did what you did and you can't be here. Sorry. Then even though to me there's a part of it that symbolizes that he's gonna have to live with this for the rest of his life, and he's going to have to eat that, and there's aspects of his livelihood that he is not going to be able to take advantage of into perpetuity. And so that part kind of makes me a little uncomfortable. But what I would be even more uncomfortable with if we just said, I don't care, let him perform and do whatever he wants, because we just want to make money and sing and dance and have drinks thrown at us from the stage, right? So I'd be more uncomfortable with that. So, I guess, that's a roundabout way of me saying that despite me feeling conflicted, at the end of the day, I uphold principle more than anything else. I think principle and structure makes the world a better, more hospitable place to live in. I think the reason why the world has become more inhospitable is because people do not reasonably have principles that they stand on. They just want to see the world devolve into chaos and anarchy, and we can just do whatever we want whenever we want. And so from that standpoint, I have to kind of champion this, because in the long run, more principled people than not, to me, makes the world a better place.
Yeah, man. Well, I agree. And I was trying to figure it out, man. Like I put in, list of countries Chris Brown was banned from and why. But yeah, man, it's all because of the Rihanna situation, because it's on his record and they don't allow people to be there because of that. And that's I didn't know that people or places did that. And if South Africa has a law like that, then well, that's their law. So and if that's how they roll, that's how they roll. But yeah, man, UK, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, like I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that's pretty wild, man. And again, man, I'm not out here advocating or defending. You gotta skate on thin ice with this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, man, it's like I wish more countries did. I wish more people just did stuff like this, like you said, was like on the principle side. I think that was my takeaway from all of this was it's commendable in a way, but Chris Brown domestic violence situation. I mean, there's more sinister and egregious things that are going on out here, and people don't have such a strong stance. And it's for bigger names than people like Chris Brown, and they're parading themselves around the world. But I guess they were never found guilty in a court of law. I think this is the difference between those people and Chris Brown. I guess from alleged things or whatever. But yeah, man, if this was more uniform, I wouldn't be so okay. Well, whatever. If the people want to see him perform, let him go. How often will he be able? The people in South Africa get a chance to see him, moonwalk or whatever the hell it is he does nowadays. Side note, man. I mean, this guy is what 8, 9, up in there, years younger than us, man. This guy is living a rock star life. He is looking rougher and rougher every time I see this guy, man. So he needs to get off of whatever he's on. But much like Bow Wow, man, this guy grew up an entertainer, and all he knows is the game. So I'm pretty sure he's gonna be missing out on a big check if he doesn't get a chance to do this, because that was a lot of seats that got sold. But I'm pretty sure outside of him taking this little L here, he'll be right back at it again. I guess at this point he's used to it. So yeah, man, more power to them people, man. And you know, I hope, you know, this Women for Change thing, keep that same energy, man. And and just do it across the board, and you know, not for publicity to block Chris Brown from coming to South Africa, you know.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely hear that. There needs to be more uniformity in terms of non-negotiables. Clearly, Chris Brown in his past has become a worldwide non-negotiable. But there's other things. There's other things that need to be added to that list for sure. So I definitely hear you on that. But yeah, I just, you know, more principled people living in the world would make the world a better place, in my opinion. So, like I said, there's an aspect of this to me that rubs me the wrong way, in that, with the exception of extreme circumstances, although one might consider this to be extreme.
Right.
So you know, it's completely based upon your perspective. But for me, this doesn't qualify as that, in my opinion. Meaning he should still be able to earn a livelihood. I think that that's a basic function of living that shouldn't be taken away from somebody, just earning a livelihood. But at the same time, if there are principles in play here, and this is an egregious violation of that, and people decide that this is a no-fly zone, then it is what it is, man. More people need to live a principled existence, and if this is an indication of that, then I have to champion it. So it is what it is.
Hey, but let us know down in the comment section, you know, how y'all feel about this, Women for Change blocking Chris Breezy from performing in South Africa. Now, if this is some type of law, like I said, this is a law like how, because this is, you know, South Africa is its own country, you know, so, you know, they're allowed to do what they want. So if this is a country thing, then, you know, so be it. But if this is just a petition from .org, you know, I mean, how do you guys feel about that? You know, let us know.
I think if it was a law, he'd already be banned.
Right.
So something tells me, because he isn't banned, that it's not a law. Therefore, this is purely a social movement. But we'll see how it plays out, man. But it's rough. Like I said, the sticking point for me is, how do you reconcile movements like this with the very clear and obvious fact that there are still a lot of women who support and want to see him? So good luck with that one. Y'all let me know how that works out. All right, and now we got some sour grapes coming from the ex-girlfriend of Travis Kelce, whose name is what's her name? Kayla Nicole. Is that her name?
Something like that.
Kayla Nicole. Yeah, that's her name. So unless you've been living under a rock, you know that Travis Kelce broke up with this woman and started dating Taylor Swift. She is like an influencer, fitness influencer / entrepreneur, social media personality, blah, 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 blah. Maybe she needs to take a page out of Ari Lennox's playbook. Who knows? But she recently, Kayla Nicole, that is, joined Angel Reese on Angel Reese's podcast. And Angel Reese asked Kayla Nicole about her relationship with Travis Kelce and whether money played a factor in them breaking up. More specifically, she asked Kayla Nicole about whether Travis Kelce wanted her to be 50-50 financially in their relationship, and whether that played a role in them breaking up. And she pretty much dismissed those comments, and even went so far as to say that she isn't a 50-50 type person. That does she look like the type of woman who would ever go 50-50? Cameron and Mace chimed in on her comments about her not being a 50-50 person. And they basically said she's not looking good by speaking in this manner. So we'll get into this. This says Cameron and Mace sound off on Travis Kelce's ex, Kayla Nicole, and her controversial 50-50 comments. A few days ago, Travis Kelce's ex-girlfriend, Kayla Nicole, made an appearance on Angel Reese's Unapologetically Angel. In the time that the interview was published, multiple clips quickly went viral. One of them sees Nicole throw shade toward Tiana Taylor. She was asked about the pettiest thing she's ever done, to which she replied that she dressed up as her ex-girlfriend She dressed up as her ex's new girlfriend. Nicole was once tied to Iman Shumpert, and it caused the R&B singer to go off on her for the way she talked about it and her ill intentions. Also, thrusting Kayla Nicole into debate circles is her controversial comments about going 50-50 with Kelsey. There were rumors swirling around the time of their breakup that him being cheap was the reason for their split. Nicole vehemently shut them down, saying, yeah, that was never an issue in our relationship, but it was definitely a rumor on the internet. However, that response didn't save her from getting torn apart by some online. Nicole would go on to ask Reese herself if she looked like someone who would bother to split bills with her man. Do I look like somebody that would split anything? She asked. The WNBA star replied with no, which led to her saying, okay, so yeah, that was ridiculous. So we're going to go ahead and play these clips. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to play what she initially said, and then I'm going to go back and play what Cam and Mace had to say. So here's first the snippet of the interview between Angel Reese and Kayla Nicole, in which Kayla Nicole talks about how she doesn't do 50-50.
I know there was a rumor that they were saying that you stopped messing with him at one point because of 50-50. Is there water? Where did the water go? What is the question? Did who? 50-50. Remember they were saying that you said he was cheap, or they were saying that you were...
Oh, the splitting the bills.
The splitting 50-50, yeah, the 50-50 rumor. What was the tea on that?
Yeah, do I look like anybody that would split anything?
So you guys broke up at that point because...
No, this is the question. Do I look like I would go 50-50 on bills?
No.
Okay. So yeah, that was ridiculous. But he addressed that too, though. That was, I don't even know why that even became a thing. Yeah, that was never an issue in our relationship, but it was definitely a rumor on the internet.
All right, so that's that. And now here is Cam and Mace's reaction to her saying that. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so it starts here. All right, here we go.
I just have to add though, her face card is a 10 and her body is also a 10 because she works out, she's on her shit. So
see, my thing
I just have to add that.
Yeah,
for those who don't know what she
I
looks like.
I haven't seen her.
For people who don't know what she looks like, Kayla Nicole looks great. I just gotta confirm.
Let me pull up.
Well, see, that's
beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
But see, the whole thing is that's why I was going a little different from Mace, is because I don't care how beautiful you are. When I heard that interview, you're ugly. That's just my attitude.
Yeah, your attitude.
You could be the best looking girl in the world, but you're ugly. I didn't even like the answer. That answer right there made me say never.
Toxic.
Just that attitude.
Wait a minute, Killer. Wait a minute. You might want to re-go.
Bro, I got a picture of her right here. I'm looking at her. I pulled the images up because you know she's on all these red carpets, and when you scroll down on the images, she's on like the top 10 photos of red carpets, and you just see her going and Taylor Swift on all the red carpets. When I'm scrolling up, she just disappears after a while. No more red carpet, no nothing. Now, Mace, me and Mace a little different. And don't get me wrong, I like pretty, but your attitude, dryness. Look, let me tell you something, right? And I won't bring this bad bitch.
Yes.
It's problematic. This is very problematic. I couldn't wait. Mo, she triggered me. I feel triggered right now, you know. And I'm just joking, but seriously, if they're not married, my mother taught me that taught my sisters, if you go on a date with a guy, you should bring your own money. That's an old school rule that they used to tell people, so you're not taken advantage of. When you begin to lean too much on a guy, then you become subject to everything that he wants to do, even if that's not what you want to do. And that's putting yourself in a compromising position. So I know sometimes people think they're so beautiful, you should pay for everything. But I think if you're not married, you should be willing and able to cover your own bill. Not that you have to, but you should be able to pay your own bill, because you shouldn't ask anyone to do something for you that you can't do for yourself. And look at what happened. She caught herself flexing and got a bigger flex on her. Now he's with somebody he doesn't have to pay a dime for. So it didn't work. You lost them to somebody with more money that will do 50-50.
Go ahead, Mo. You
I can't give a better answer.
Yeah. Now.
All right, so there you go. So that was Cam and Mace's take on what she had to say. She believes it is preposterous that anyone would think that she would do 50-50. Commenting, do I look like anybody who would do 50-50? So what do you make of this situation? What do you make of what she said and Mason Cam's response to what she said?
Well, from what she said, you know, because Angel Reese was asking her a question based upon the rumor, you know, and she was just looking for, hey, was it based on that? And she was so adamant about, do I look like somebody? Like, and my thing was, what do you mean by that? What do you look like? And of course, Angel Reese, you know, girl power, you know, girl code said, nah, you don't look like, you don't look like somebody. And she's like, okay, then I bet, like, you got me messed up. And it's just like, okay, but why have that stance? And so what Cam said, man, that, you know, that's ugly. It is ugly. It's gross. And so, and this is the part that women like this are missing from the equation. You will get guys that pay for it. Oh yeah, you will. But you are just being leased out at this point, because they're not going to keep this up. If you have a price tag on you, the guys that have enough will inquire how much your tag is, and they're going to take you for a spin. And you know, is that what your value is worth? Is your value worth you know, meals, a couple of cycles of free rent? You know, is that what are you selling your body? Because that's what it sounds like to me. So it sounds like in situations like that, you know, Travis was, I don't know what his end game was or whatever, but he around here caked up with her, parading around, taking on red carpets. And yeah, and from what I did hear, that it was like a thing of, you know, she wanted to be catered to. And coming from this interview here, well, there's no shock. My problem with this situation is not me being in a business, but the overall mentality that this woman is reflecting that is all throughout the dating pool. And there's women out here that aren't the caliber of this lady, that are still that got the nerve. At least this woman, you know, she can still sit there and feel like she can say that, and some clowns is actually gonna pay for it. But then there's women that's not even on this woman's caliber, and they're talking this goofy rhetoric. And so my issue with this whole thing is just the talking point of, I'm not willing to pull my own weight. You got to pay for everything. And, you know, like Mace was saying, man, like if this is husband status, like if it, you know, it's different rules. But if you're out here dating and y'all getting to know each other, you know, one could say that, you know, you can pay for it to show whatever, but it's not old school courting, man. This is more like extortion nowadays. So, you know, my issue with this whole situation was her nasty attitude. I agree with Cam. I don't care how beautiful you think you is or how beautiful I think you are. If you got a nasty attitude, whether it's about money or anything else, you can absolutely kick rocks. There's not enough beauty in the world to make me deal with a nasty person. And the way she answered Angel Reese there, it's, there's more to that. So yeah, I agree with those two, man. And as far as the 50-50 thing goes, hey man, that's treading on, that's treading on thin ice, man. You can't talk about that too loud. You know what I'm saying? That's gonna cause an uproar. But I still think that the way that women are holding that over men's head is more akin to sex work than actual courting for love. But what are your thoughts, man, on whatever her name? What's this girl name here?
Kayla Nicole.
Yeah,
Kayla.
Miss Nicole. What are your thoughts on her saying what she looked like going 50-50? And Cam's and Mace's response to this. What are your thoughts?
Are you still there?
Oh snap! Yeah, I'm still here. Play
Are you
ball.
back? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, more men don't think like you. So you can say all of that if you want, sir.
Oh man. Come on,
You
man.
can say all of that stuff that you just said is fine. Unfortunately, there is a line around the block of men waiting to pay for her as if they're shopping at a grocery store, which is what dating in that capacity has become.
Mhm.
So she can have I agree with Cam. That is an ugly disposition to maintain.
Mhm.
It is. But she isn't paying the price for that. Is she paying the price for having that ugly disposition? She's not
necessarily.
She's not being penalized for that. So whose fault is her ugly disposition at the end of the day?
The guy's
okay.
paying.
Exactly. So the thing is, whether it's ugly or not, she's not being penalized for thinking like that. Because for every one guy or two, in the case of you and Cam, I'll even throw myself in that situation. I'll even throw.
You sound like you Cam, bro.
No, I'm not. So I'll throw myself in that. You know what? Let's make it an even 4.
Okay.
For every 4 guys, me, you, Cam, and Mace, who say this is ugly, I wouldn't touch you with a 10-foot pole, there's probably 100 more guys who say bring it on, I'll pay for it all.
And they mean that.
Yes, they absolutely mean it. They think it's their duty. Like they think they're winning. They believe they're winning in life because they can afford to get a chick like her.
It's gross, man.
It is gross, but that's what this has become. You don't. Let's like a child, for example. This is the plainest way that I can analogize this kind of dynamic. You can't give a child non-baby food for 6 months straight and then up and decide that you're going to start feeding the child Gerber. The kid's going to look at the Gerber and say, what the hell is this? You've been feeding me this for 6 months and you expect me to go back to eating Gerber? I'm not eating this trash. Do I look like the type of baby that would eat Gerber? Just like what did she just say?
Yeah,
She looked at her with the crooked face. Like, do I look like I would go 50-50? That baby is going to look at you like, do I look like I'm about to eat that Gerber?
Hey, that's facts.
Whose fault is that? The baby's fault or the adult feeding them the adult food for 6 months? Like at a certain point, we're going to have to point the finger at the progenation of the behavior. So my thing is, red pill guys all day long, y'all want to get mad and hate on a chick like this for talking like that? Go ahead, waste your energy doing that. But what you need to be doing is hollering at these simp dudes who are signing up for this. I guarantee you her DMs are flooded right now.
Oh, yeah.
She can't go anywhere in public without having all kinds of dudes hollering at her, willing to sign up for what she's offering, which is I show up. The reward that you get for spending all that money is my presence. And she genuinely believes that, not because that is her inherent birthright, but she's been conditioned to believe that that's what she is entitled to.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't cultivate that belief on her own. She was groomed and conditioned into believing that because she actually experienced it firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
So, as gross and disgusting as I find her disposition to be, somebody enabled it. Several people enabled it. Several men enabled it. And there are several men who continue to enable it. For every one guy who says, I'm not dealing with that, I don't believe in that, there's 50 more who are an affront to the cause. They say, bro, you sleep. What you mean? You supposed to not do, you supposed to go 100%. Look how bad she is. You see how bad she is? I'm paying for everything. and that's the problem. So really, at the end of the day, as much as it pains me to say, it's not her fault. It's not her fault. When you condition a life form to be accustomed to certain things, they're not going to go back to, they're not going to suddenly believe that they don't deserve or are otherwise not entitled to the things that they've been conditioned to believe is naturally given to them as much as they want it. That's an unreasonable expectation to have. So I'm looking at all of them dudes who are probably hollering at her right now. When she goes to the gym, probably dudes hollering at her all the time. When she posts on Instagram, it's probably a whole bunch of dudes hollering at her, hitting her up, DMing. When she goes out in public, she makes any kind of public appearance, she goes to restaurants, she goes to certain places, there's guys all over the place trying to hit her up. There's probably a celebrity dude right now, a rapper, an NBA player, NFL player, who's trying to, make a connection with her by hollering at her representation or her publicist. Similar to what Kelsey did to try and get Taylor Swift's attention. Let me get who. What's the number? What's the line for her publicist or her representative? Let them know I would like to meet her. How many dudes are trying to do that with this chick? Dozens, if not more. They don't give a damn about how ugly her disposition is. Because speaking of the last topic that we just talked about, these dudes have no scruples. They don't live by a code.
Scrupulous.
Yeah. Yeah, they are unscrupulous characters. Men are losing our way out here because we don't stand on a code. We don't live by any principle. We'll just, hey, she got a cute enough face and a nice enough body. What do I have to spend? It doesn't matter. And they'll do it. They'll do it. They're lined up around the block to talk to this chick. She probably already got a dude who's maintaining her livelihood. Well, not me. I don't know. Whatever. She probably got a dude right now that's helping to keep the lights on, maintain her livelihood right now, while she's actively entertaining, communicating with other guys who may be willing to do what this current guy is doing at a higher level. And there's a slew of other women just like her. They're being conditioned to believe that this is their natural entitled birthright. And I really don't blame them. As disgusting as I find it, I don't think it's their fault. I always look at what is the progenation of the behavior, what caused it, and what continues to cause it. You create the marketplace for this. Guy, sir, man, we need to stop setting the market for it. If we stop setting the market, they'll stop acquiescing. It's as simple as that. How many chicks will go out here and get BBWs if they didn't think that in a roundabout way, getting a BBW will get them more of what they want via men's attention? What did I say? I said BBW.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I meant BBL. Yeah. Mm-hmm. How many chicks would stop getting BBLs tomorrow if they woke up in an alternate universe and saw that no matter how good the surgery looks, there's more guys who say thanks but no thanks. I'd rather a woman be natural. Would there still be some women who got BBLs? Yeah. Would there be as many getting them? Hell no. Not nearly as many. And you can't convince me otherwise. So we set the market and then we complain about it. You can't have it both ways. If you want to complain about it, don't set the market. But if you're going to continue to set the market, you can't complain.
Hey, I ain't setting the market. These jackasses. I know.
I'm not talking to you. Yeah.
These jackasses out here, man.
I hear what Cam and Mace are saying, But you guys out there with your OnlyFans subscriptions,
Yeah.
and you're DMing these chicks all the time, trying to get them to trying to pay for them. You dudes out here flying these chicks out, all expenses paid, putting them up, and then after you have paid for their services, you're leaving them with envelopes of cash and giving them gifts in the form of $1,000 bags and any other designer trinkets. You guys are the problem. And what puzzles me more than anything else is these will be the same guys who complain about these women. You can't set the market if you're going to continue to complain. So that's my soliloquy. I'll leave it up to you. The floor is yours. But that's my piece on this. I don't like what she had to say, but it ain't her fault.
I mean, I get you, man. I mean, it's definitely a two-way street. I don't think either side got there by themselves. I think that this is I think men being men should be more responsible, and they should be more principled. But men are men, and they are sexually thirsty.
At a certain point, that can no longer continue to be an excuse.
What I'm getting at is, so men are sexually thirsty. Now, this is went on historically. Now, whenever you read history or whatever, now this didn't always go on, but whenever you read history and stuff, and you hear about this group of people conquering this group of people, the term grape and pillaging comes from something, and it was that the women were the spoils for a lot of those conquering types of people. And now, if there was a more communal sense of people, they didn't live like that. They were principled people, and they didn't have that type of mindset. But the conquering people went around the planet, colonizing and conquering. That was their mentality, and that was their mindset. And so what ended up happening is that the people, as a baseline, got socialized like that because they don't have a culture, or they don't have, a culture like of standard. So, so that's not an inherent thing in men. It's a thing that's in men that are not in tune with like real culture. I would say that, because this type of culture that we're living in right now was not cultivated or groomed in anything besides exploitation and garbage. And so that's why in most Western countries, these types of things are running rampant. But if you look right now in the bushes and you grab people that got sticks in their nose and loincloths, they don't have these issues. And the reason is because they actually have principles and they're solid on stuff, and it's a real culture. People may not agree with their traditions, but they have a solid system, and the men are being men, and they're not sexually thirsty, and the women are being women, and they're not out here for monetary gain. But we're living in a backwards way of living, and this is intended on both sides of the spectrum, in my opinion, that the men function like this and the women function like this. And I think both sides are equally as guilty. I hear your point, man. Men need to be men about it, and I agree with that too. But there's women out there that what's that? Who Framed Roger Rabbit? That lady in the red, whatever her name was.
Jessica.
Yeah, whatever that was.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, but she gonna come out here moving her hips, boom, 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 and it's only so long some guy gonna be able to last with that.
Yeah, Jessica Rabbit. Yeah, Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's only gonna be so long. Somebody gonna be able to last with that. And this woman does that. She knows how to spin a web. So you're right, man. I believe that we are going in a direction right now where men are slowly letting go of the rope. And there's more and more people that are becoming more involved in, addicted to corn. And their addiction to corn is causing them to fall into these types of, sex work relationships. Because this girl's just a sex worker. So my issue with her rhetoric is that the basics in the world is going to be walking around going, what do I look like? You know, being cooperative. I shouldn't have to do that because there's ducks out here with OnlyFans that's going to pay my way. But it's like, okay, but on the other side of the flip side of that, you can't want a family and marriage either. You know, so you have now signed up for sex work. So my thing is that it's dangerous rhetoric, and you know, men need to tighten up. And it's not all the women's fault, but you know, they play their role in it too. You know, of course. But yeah, man, this to me it's all a charade, man. You know, that's why we were talking about last week, man. When we were talking about the DDG situation, you know, it really behooves you, man, to get off of the grid and get out of these silos of thought that got everybody going mad, you know, a la Lennox, and get you somebody that's not in these matrices and doesn't think like this. And maybe you have a fighting chance of having somebody in a situation where it's actually solid and stable. But if they out here and they're with the Joneses and they thinking like this woman, you know, you just uncaked yourself up with a sex worker. And so, you know, good luck with that, man.
Yeah, I think people's focus on this particular topic is just distorted. Like I said before, men will willingly contribute to this dynamic, but then they'll complain about women's way, right? And then you'll have, a flip side, you know, the other side of the same coin is you'll have women who contribute, who carry themselves in this manner, but then will also complain about the lack of good quality men in the world.
Correct.
And it's like, which is it, man? Like, we really need to figure out, what we need to understand is from the standpoint of personal responsibility, in so much that you must be accountable for your own individual actions. I agree with you on everything that you said. However, for me, I can't help but think about what is the inciting event that causes certain things to happen. And for me, the inciting event that causes this kind of dynamic is the creation of the marketplace, the creation of it, and therefore the proliferation of it. And I feel like if you cut that off at the head, a lot of it will go away. A lot of it will stop. But at the end of the day, we got to stop doing all of this finger pointing. Like, guys will contribute to the madness, but then complain about women. And then you'll have women who complain about the lack of good men, but they'll carry themselves this way. And it's like, well, you don't actually date the kind of men who are more likely than not to free you from the stuff that you're complaining about. You're repeating the same decision-making habits, but expecting a different result, which in effect makes you insane. If you want to date the kind of guy who's going to make you feel like a woman and who's going to treat you the way you want to be treated, and you don't got to be dealing with certain things, how about you shift the way that you go about meeting men? You're meeting the same kind of men from a profile standpoint, but then you retain the right to continue to complain. To me, that makes no sense. And then you got guys who will continue to try to holler at the same kind of chicks. They go into the club, the bars, the lounges. They trying to hit chicks up on Instagram and TikTok, social media, strip clubs and the like. This is where they're trying to meet women, and then they complain about women. Dude, you're hollering at the same kind of chicks from a profile standpoint. Whose fault is that? Them or yours? So that is where I will depart and say personal responsibility needs to be maintained, because at the end of the day, we all need to be held accountable for our approach and general decision making. However, when it comes to this, I still say, I look at her, and as disgusting as I find her comments to be, there are nevertheless men who capitulate to it and reinforce the mindset. And I feel as though if you eliminate the guys who reinforce the mindset, there's less women like her who think like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't like it, man. It's gross.
It's gross.
Yeah, it's gross. She need to go. She need to be 50-50. It's gross. Like, women need to believe that it doesn't matter how good they look. It shouldn't be so abhorrent that they don't just sit there and never literally have to pay for anything ever. You know, even if we ain't talking about 50-50, I'm not even trying to put numbers on it. I'm just saying you come into the situation saying, I look so good, I'm not opening my wallet for shit.
Right.
And you think the baseline for you feeling that way is because of how good you look. That is gross. But she's she's validated in being that way. Like there are too many men who validate that for her. So I don't know, man. It's definitely a nuanced conversation, but I think that is a learned behavior, not innate. And I think that if you stop those who teach it, then people won't do it anymore. You just can't teach it.
Hey, well, good luck, because it's all over these apps, movies, TV shows. I'm telling you, man, just when you were scrolling, reading the article, that Beyonce ad where did she get a BBL? That Beyonce ad where she had to, you know what I'm saying, pulling down her pants. We're just trying to read an article, and here they're selling us sex. Oh no, we're selling you jeans. No, you're not. You selling me ass. So as soon as people try to get their life to go together and say, you know what, I ain't gonna be on these apps. I ain't gonna follow these hoes. And it's like, okay, bro, but you could just be trying to read an article and they still selling sex to you. And then subconsciously, you know, now you out here, you know what I'm saying? All in your head. So yeah, man, people gotta, you know, this stuff is the stimuli is all over the place with this stuff, and guys are falling victim to it, and then those women get rewarded and the cycle perpetuates. It's a mess.
Yeah.
So as men, we have to be aware that it's not just on OnlyFans. All right, it's while we're watching Netflix, it's while we're trying to watch football, and when those things are being shot at us, we gotta be able to, you know what I'm saying, and be able to not get into that horny bag and not go, hey man, I just want to, you know, and it's like, nah, dude, like, but again, if you don't have those filters, bro, and you're especially on those things, it's good luck, and it's good luck telling those guys to not think like that, you know. And that's my problem. It's North America. It's a Western thing, and it ain't gonna stop, bro. So long as
it's not just it's any Western oriented culture. So they deal with this over there in the UK too. It's the same thing. Yeah. So yeah, not just North America. Yeah, no, I feel you, man. It's all the way around. Yeah, you know, it is what it is, man. I'm glad that I'm unplugged. I'll say that.
Did she get a BBL? Or was that like a pad she wearing in that?
Who, Beyonce?
Yeah, because it was.
I don't know. Don't ask me, bro. I don't know. For all I know, she did, man. I do not know. That is no longer a thing that is just on the fringes. It's becoming more and more normal nowadays. I swear, bro. When I go to the gym, I see so many of these chicks with these BBLs. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, bro. South Florida, bro.
I don't even get it. It's like you get the BBL and then you start working out. I don't understand it. You hustling backwards. You could have been working out first, and you could have got a natural one. You get the surgery, and then you start going to the gym. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's Western society.
Shouts out to Cam and Mace, man.
Yeah.
All right, now we are going to have a nice little discussion talking about 2 Chainz' interaction with the new Tesla AI robot. 2 Chainz, the Tesla AI robot was unveiled via this glamorous event out in California recently, and 2 Chainz was on hand. And not only did he interact with the robot, but he basically said that he's going to buy one for himself. And, you know, he'll be able to have his own AI robot in a couple months. So the future is now, as many of us are saying. And for 2 Chainz, he's going to be a part of the wave. So this says 2 Chainz films surreal encounter with $20,000 Tesla robot. 2 Chainz has gotten up close and personal with what some are calling the future after meeting a Tesla robot in the flesh. The Atlanta rap veteran posted a video on Instagram capturing his encounter with Optimus, the new humanoid robot that was unveiled by Elon Musk on October 10th. In the clip, Titty Boy can be heard having a full conversation with the robot. So Two Chainz, who seemingly stuns the robot for a few seconds by introducing himself as Tony, then tries to get to know the Tesla robot invention a little better by asking if it can play basketball and shoot jump shots. So here is that exchange between 2 Chainz and Optimus.
Come say hi. All right. What's up, bro? Heading to the right. To the right. Right. To your left. To your left. There you go, man. 2 Chainz, how you doing? What's up? Hey, buddy, how you doing, man? I'm doing good. It's nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. What's your name? I'm Optimus. Okay. My name is Tony. Tony? Yeah. Really? Yeah. Nice to meet you, Tony. Nice to meet you too, buddy. Hey, can you awesome. Can you play basketball? Can you shoot like jump shots? Maybe one day. I'll teach you. Can you? I'll teach you. Really? Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, brother. Much appreciated. All right, man. You like Balenciaga? I got an outfit for you. Really? Yeah, I got an outfit for you. Awesome. That's cool. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm about to order you. Okay. All right. I'm gonna order you, and then I'll see you in another couple months. Okay. I'll see you. I'll see you. All right. Awesome. Bye. Excuse me, personal space, please. Please don't. Hey, Optimus.
Personal space. So there's a part of this that I did want to read. Let's see. Optimus is expected to cost between $20,000 and $30,000 once it hits the marketplace and can do anything. According to the billionaire, which is of course is Elon Musk, such as walking its owner's dog, babysit children, and mow the lawn. So that, according to Elon Musk, is some of the ways that this robot can be applied. Babysit kids, mow the lawn, and walk the dog. What do you make of 2 Chainz' interaction with Optimus, the AI robot from Tesla?
Wow. I mean, I guess the future is now, right? I mean, this is wild stuff. I mean, of course, this is like the beta version of it. You know, this is definitely a rollout test functioning thing. This ain't as crispy as it gets. That was a pretty jagged conversation. But still, man. Hey, man, people really gonna be on this, dog. People really gonna be buying this thing. And you know, I didn't think nobody was gonna buy the Cybertruck. They bought that.
Oh yeah, it's a lot of them. Yeah, it's a lot of them down here,
bro. Yeah, I hear too. I be seeing them down the street at the grocery store, and they out there like they. I was like, so you was actually on a waiting list for this? And so the same thing for this garbage. People really gonna be. I mean, this thing just looks like. I mean, I already know that they watching us through our phone, listening to me through my phone and my laptop and probably my TV. Yeah, I know all that already. I'm already uncomfortable with that. But this thing here, this is really taking the cake, man. I don't want this thing in my house. If I so happen to go to somebody's house and they have one of these things, so be it. But I will not be having these things. You know, I was really drawing the line at one of those self-cleaning vacuums. That's hey, man, these hardwood floors, I'll be damned if I'm sweeping all damn day. You know what I'm saying? So I was gonna cop one of those. I ain't even gonna lie. But this, man, this is too much, and it's not even about the money, bro. If this thing costs $300, I'm not having this thing in my house. So it's not even about the money. It's just about the principle of it all, man. And you know, I guess it is a robot, so it's okay to have a slave. But man, the sex worker bots are going to be coming out soon too. And all this stuff is hitting faster than I thought, man. Because that's what a lot of these people mind went. You know, the people that we were talking about in the last video. Because honestly, bro, if they can get themselves Anna Nicole or whatever her name was, a simulated bot with fleshy tones, people would be buying that, and I guess there wouldn't be no market for them. So hey man, I guess it's all coming full circle, I guess. But to me, man, I don't like any of this stuff. I think it's completely weird. But my thoughts and feelings will not stop this. This will go on. It will get more advanced. And more and more people are going to think that this is cool and having one in their house, like iRobot, like literally, like everybody's going to have one, like a toaster, So don't like it, man, but this is the wave. Apparently, I will not be getting anything like this. But what are your thoughts, sir, on Sir 2 Chainz chilling with the Optimus, or whatever the hell it is? What are your thoughts, bro?
Yeah, before we started recording, I said that the first thing I thought about was iRobot because it kind of looks like the iRobot robots. And yeah, this thing is going to be in everybody's home, just like the robots in iRobot were in everybody's home. And in iRobot, they all rebelled. The robots, they went sentient and they rebelled. And there was a war in the streets of Chicago as the humans picked up anything they could to use as a weapon to fight against these robots who went rogue on their masters.
Right.
So, not whatever. I'm just saying it was eerily similar to that, or at least that's what it reminded me of. The reason why I'm not a fan of it is because, I personally believe that the ultimate role of AI is to replace humans. I've said that before, and I still believe it. I think, they're going to create these cool applications and things that can do this and do that, and you can be more efficient. You can write a movie script faster, or self-driving cars, blah blah blah. There's going to be certain applications that get developed as a result of AI that are going to not do that. But I think that for the most part, this technology is going to be leveraged to replace humans. So the part about it that I'm uncomfortable with is, where do all of these people go and what do they do? Like, what are people going to do? Like, people need stuff to do and people need to earn a living. And as we continue to replace various industries with automation and put people out of work, where do they go and what do they do? Do they just die off? They become homeless? Like, what's going to happen? So that's why I personally don't like this, because once this technology gets fine-tuned and nearly perfected,
right,
you're gonna see grocery store chains buying robots. They're gonna have contracts with Tesla where they get a shipment of however many millions of robots, and grocery stores are no longer going to hire humans to be cashiers and stock shelves with groceries. Eliminate them, because now we got the robots who can do it. When you go into retail stores, retail chains are going to eliminate human employees and replace them with robots, and thereby increasing the revenue and the profits at the top of the company, because you no longer have to pay for labor. Like, they're going to have a contract where they can buy these things in bulk for a flat rate. And maybe you'll have to have a tech who's on retainer to service the robots if something goes bad. But by and large, you're no longer going to have to pay wages. You're not going to have to pay benefits, health insurance, dental, vision. You're not going to need to pay vacation time. These companies are going to salivate at the mouth the first chance they get to replace the human workforce with this form of automation. They can't wait. They are chomping at the bit. You mean we don't have to pay salaries? We don't have to pay wages. We don't have to give vacation time. We don't have to give maternity leave. We don't have to give dental, vision, medical. We can just get rid of all of that and continue to eat. Where do I sign up? That, in my opinion, is the true purpose of AI, in my opinion. You'll be able to buy one of these things and maybe they can cook and clean for you or whatever. But I think ultimately the purpose of this thing is to eliminate humans, eliminate workforces, so that corporations can make even more money. You don't have to worry about people unionizing, because you don't have people You don't have to worry about collective bargaining agreements. You don't have to worry about none of that stuff because humans are gone. As soon as these arrangements expire, layoffs, firings, bye. We'll pay severances and all of this other kind of stuff for the first 6 months of your termination or a year because on the back end, we're going to make so much money by not having to pay y'all anymore. So in my, like, that's just my opinion. I feel as though that's the ultimate purpose. Yeah, like that is my belief is that that is the ultimate purpose of AI. And who's going to be able to like fend this thing off? The people who have the skills to work with this technology and wealthy rich people.
Yeah.
So 2 Chainz doesn't give a damn if he buys a robot for his house. He's not in a position to where he's going to be replaced by this stuff. Nor are his kids because they're wealthy. Into perpetuity, his family has generational wealth to the point that his kids aren't going to work in an office building or a retail store or a warehouse where they can get replaced by automation. They're good. But working class people, people who need to work for a living, oh yeah, we got stuff to think about with this kind of thing. So y'all can think it's all well and good and think it's all fun and games and key, how cool, because we got these robots coming up. I guarantee you within the next 10 to 20 years, you are going to start seeing entire industries become completely eradicated because there's no longer a marketplace for human workers in those respective areas because they can just be replaced by wholesale automation.
Yeah.
So that is my belief about AI. You can say I'm being doom and gloom and disagree with me. That's fine. But I'll read the tea leaves on this stuff. Corporate America is ruthless. They don't give a damn who they lay off, who they get rid of. They don't care. Corporations want to make as much money as possible. And when they can get rid of a workforce, get rid of a labor force, because you can just completely automate it with robots that can do the same thing, where are people going to go? So I'm not the biggest fan of this because of that, but it is what it is, man. My advice to folks out there who are in agreement with me that this is the wave, that this is what's coming, I highly advise you to, I highly encourage you to steer your kids in the direction of learning these technologies so that they can't be replaced. Because the people who take advantage of AI, they're going to need humans to service the robots. Because a robot's going to go bad. There's going to be something technically wrong. There's going to be something that happens with the neural link or the network that needs to get serviced. Something's going to go bad with the code. Something's going to go bad with all of that kind of stuff. And you're going to need people to service that stuff. But everybody else is feast or famine.
Bruh, you know what I'm saying? And I feel that, but these calculators and programs, they do people's science homework. They do the engineers homework. These AI bots that's writing full papers for people that are doing MLA format faster than, you know what I'm saying? I open the Word doc. And bro, they're gonna have bots fixing the bots. Yeah, you didn't think of that, did you? Yeah, bro. So this is what I'm saying, bro. With all of these things that they're pushing right now, this is all coming to a head, man. Hopefully you guys can see the writing on the wall. As you said, man, the tea leaves, man. But they're convincing these kids to change themselves from who they are for a reason, for reproductive reasons. They're trying to get them on them blockers for a reason. This food is progressively getting worse for a reason. And yeah, what are they going to do with all of these people? Well, they're not going to make it. That's what's going to happen. And as far as 2 Chainz, you know what I'm saying? I feel what you're saying, like he's wealthy and it's the common everyday person too, but who's going to pay 2 Chainz? So I guess there'll be people that'll still pay for stuff like that, or these entertainers, but they're trying to phase them out too.
I agree with you, but what I'm saying is right now,
Yeah,
2
yeah,
Chainz
yeah,
is
yeah.
set for life.
Oh yeah,
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 so even if the future of what's going on with that industry shifts,
yeah.
right now he's already good. That's what I
No, no,
meant.
no, for sure,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
And but yeah, they're gonna try to, you know, because to me, part of this whole Diddler stuff and whatever, to me, that was cleaning house in Hollywood. Me Too is cleaning house in Hollywood. You know, it was dethroning people from having stuff. And I'm telling you right now, guys, there's a lot of things that are going on right now that are quite sketchy. And I didn't know we were this close. I thought this was like, you know what I'm saying? 2035. You know, they talking about, you know what I'm saying? Probably they got waiting lists, you know. And that's my thing. You know, I thought the sex bots were going to be, you know, 2030. I thought it was going to come before the Tesla bots. But hell, them things come around the corner too. And which again ties into, you know, control or curbing of demographics. So yeah, man, it's the people that are the people that can rub elbows with somebody like Elon Musk and stuff like that that really want to see this come to fruition. And at some point, man, it's going to have to be a man versus machine type of situation. Not in the literal sense of war, because like you said, man, an iRobot, if they're in everybody's house like a toaster or a flat screen, man, the only thing they got to do is come online. It's a wrap for y'all. Y'all have military grade training. So, you know what I'm saying? So that is doom and gloom, and that is like far out, but it's still one of those situations of you don't want to give anybody that much control to have these things that can do so much. They're so capable. I don't feel comfortable with that in my house. But you know, it's not for us, man. This is for the next generation coming up that, you know, the Fortnite babies. The ones that think everything's cool. And they're gonna think this is badass. So yeah, man, I'm not a favorite for it either. Same reason you stated. You know, I think there's other stuff going on that goes in line with this. It's just gonna be a new future that they have planned for it. It's not gonna be what we came up on. It's not gonna be that. This is like a whole new future that we can all pretty much see or forecast. And you know, are we gonna sit idly by while they keep doing this and parading around as this is cool? Or we're gonna do something. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not gonna be the one doing it, but we need a John Connor. All right. We need a John Connor out here. So,
Yeah.
good luck,
Yeah.
y'all.
Yeah, bro. The dystopia is right around the corner, man. I challenge everyone who thinks that this is a joke. There are 4 books that I think people at this point need to read. The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand, 1984 by George Orwell, Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, and then who wrote Children of Men? Real quick. It was a book. They made Children of Men into a movie, but it was originally a book. P.D. James, that's his name. So, P.D. James wrote Children of Men. So those 4 books I encourage everybody to go read. Children of Men by P.D. James, The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand, 1984 by George Orwell, Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. All of these pieces of work, with the exception of Children of Men, were written in the 30s and 40s. Like, they were written forever ago. And they basically all forecasted what we are headed towards. So, you know, if you don't think it's a big deal, I guess continue to do what you're doing. If not, the least that you can do is be aware of the signs of dystopia. So that you can just be prepared for that kind of stuff. I'm not, you know, I don't want to be doom and gloom, like, you know, the meteor is going to strike tomorrow. But there are signs of dystopia that you can detect to just be mindful of as you continue to live your life. I'm not with it, man. There's a part of me that says, as a human, if I'm capable of doing it, I want to be able to do it. There are certain things that I'm willing to allow technology to help me with, but it's mostly for the purposes of making me more efficient. It isn't to completely replace me and have that thing do that whole function for me. But, you know, Godspeed, man. It's going to be interesting to see how a lot of this stuff plays out. So, shouts out to 2 Chainz, bro. I hope you have a lot of fun with your, Optimus bot.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to John Connor, because I know you're out there. We need your help. We need you right now, dog.
We do need the leader of the uprising. Yeah, we need the leader of the resistance to come and help us resist. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but that'll go ahead and do it for tonight's stream, man. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. As always, JB Wins, Dogon SS. Appreciate everybody for tuning in, jumping on, hopping on with us as we continue to kick this logical content. You can find me on Instagram at JVWins, JVWINS. You can also find Conscious Approach on Instagram at ConApproach, CONAPPROACH. Always leave a comment, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so, as we continue to do this each and every week over in our little corner of the internet, man. But until the next video, as I always like to say, think for yourself. Do not be a group thinker. Even though it's a bad year, I'm still going to say it. Go Seminoles. Shouts out to my Miami Heat. Hopefully we actually take the regular season seriously. Jimmy Butler. And shouts out to the Miami Dolphins, because it does look like Tua is going to come back. But yeah, other than that, stay safe out there. Think for yourself. Don't go with the Joneses. Unplug from the Matrix.
And the name is Dogon SS. You can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS and on TikTok, DraftKings, FanDuel. You know what I'm saying? Anywhere that's pretty much a social media platform, I'm on there. Dogon_SS. Come holla at me. And as I say on every pod, guys, all right, don't be too high, don't be too low. Keep it calm, keep it chill, keep it pure. And don't let anybody get you off your pivot, including Optimus and all of his legion of AI robots. All right. And one more thing, guys. Again, I would like to greatly appreciate everybody that's been hitting like and subscribe like JV Wynn said, and everybody that joined the live today, man. You know what I'm saying? Leaving comments and stuff. You know, we greatly appreciate that. We want to make this an interactive thing. So if you guys don't join the live, hit us up on our little individual videos, leave a comment, let us know what we went right or what we went wrong, or just say, hey, what up? You know what I'm saying? So until the next time, everybody, you know, more rings than Robert Ory. We'll catch y'all on the flip side.
Yes, sir. Shouts out to RG. Shouts out to Marcus Dudley. Shouts out to Angel Hole. And even you, Josh. And even you, Josh Bixby, you troller. Until then, y'all, we are out. We will catch y'all on the flip side. Stay safe. Peace.
Okay.
Yes, sir.